Live, I think. We're live on the internet, and we are waiting for the boards, the DGT boards, to come live as well.
Yep.
And I am here with Jake. He is a ghost in the background right now.
How's it going, everybody?
And anybody, if anybody is here, can let me know how the sounds sound. I know usually that a lot of times we have to mess around with this to get everyone at the perfect volume, so that I'm not too loud or that other people are not a little bit too quiet and things like that. But at the moment, we are just waiting for the DGT boards to come live. I've refreshed a couple of times and let's see here. I haven't seen
What's going
anything
on,
pop
H
up.
Rich? We have a special treat. Actually, General Zod is playing live over the board tonight. So we're going to be commentating from his account and hopefully it'll allow you to see his games, his classic games.
So
Oh,
let's see here.
oh,
We've got Josh taking on. He's got the white pieces versus Arya, and Arya is a very up and coming, like a rocket ship. He's gained like over 400 rating points, and I believe he's in like fifth grade or fourth grade, something like that. And is a super scary player to play. You never want to play kids that young because you know they're underrated.
yeah. And he has a sort of a more conservative style. Like he's willing to push for end games. Like for example, I've played a 4 hour, 108 move game with him before. I ended up losing actually, but yeah, he's really talented in all phases of the game. Whereas like a lot of kids his age are usually mostly like tacticians, and are really just thinking about like turning up the heat as much as possible.
Yeah, when
But
when
yeah,
I
I
was
guess.
young and just started out playing chess, it felt like that every player that was young just wanted to sack all the pieces and attack immediately. But I think we also were more inexperienced. People these days, they're so experienced. I played someone like they were in middle school. I looked at their tournament history, and they were about the same rating as me, roughly. And they had played twice the tournaments I've played in, and they've only been playing chess for 3 years. And I've been playing for 30. It's just amazing how many games some of these kids are getting in just such a relatively short period of time. And I'm a little bit jealous, but that's life.
Yeah, yeah, and welcome. Thanks to everybody who's been chiming in the chat so far. This isn't for a title, but this is for what is called the Rosha Cup or the Rosa Cup, which is an invitational closed tournament currently taking place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I believe the format is it's the six strongest available players in Oklahoma, and General Zod is among them. So
Yeah, it should be very exciting. He's got good competition for every single game. This is a really tough field. There's no relaxing in this field. You got to bring your A game every single game, and I mean I think coming into it, obviously FM Ryan Ambergy, 2400 rating is going to be the favorite, but the favorite doesn't always win. So that's the good news for here. I think that everyone here is going to be pulling for Zod or Josh, depending on what you want to call him. Either way, but he has a tough game for every time. I'm also going to send a text to the people running the DGT because I currently don't see anything and starting to wonder. It also doesn't help that every time I hit refresh, it sends me to round 5, which makes no sense either. Need Zod to farm these guys to get the NM title. I mean, if he puts up like 5 out of 5, he definitely would hit NM. Uh, I wonder what the cutoff would be. You could probably calculate it. How many points does he need to get master for this tournament? Because he needs about 50, right? And I think David Luscombe also is in the same boat, needing about 50 to hit National Master. And I think it's mathematically possible for one of them to achieve that. I don't think that both could this tournament, but unless they both beat Ryan, and then that would gain them a lot of points. Yeah, 5 out of 5 would be very hard, especially into this field. It is very difficult, but I mean, like 4.5 or maybe 4 would be enough. I don't know. Probably 4 wouldn't be enough because you're probably not hitting those bonus points. The time control is going to be 90 minutes plus 30-second increment. So these games could usually go around 4 hours at the, yeah at the most.
Yeah, we've had, and a lot of them have gone, just been real nail biters. Like in the past, we've had games kind of turn into blitz in the final moments. So we'll see. It's a long tournament. It's all weekend long, so it's not just the result from tonight. Let me see.
The games should have started 7 minutes ago. Um, we currently, I'm not seeing anything from the DGT boards yet, so they might be on underway, but we don't know. I'm gonna go ahead. Yes, I said that I was gonna send a text, and then I didn't, but now I'm going to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I said I was going to go to the bathroom. So here, I'll be back in just a moment.
Thought he said he'd be starting at 6:30 his time. Is that not true? It could be true, and I could be bamboozled myself. Of which case, that would be unfortunate. Because I was going by what the OCA Facebook said, and they said live starting tonight at 6. Believe tomorrow's games are at 9:30 and 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. But it could be 6:30, and I just don't know. The games have started. You just left the playing room. Okay, so that's good confirmation there. I currently do not have any of the DGT feeds sending me information at the moment. Yeah, round started at 6, which is what I was expecting. What happened to the general? Yeah, I'm not quite what you were hoping for. I understand, but somebody in the chat earlier mentioned, "Is this fake news?" And that is true. So I don't know how they knew who I was because I'm not really a chess streamer, and I haven't streamed in a year. Yeah, sunscreen. I definitely need sunscreen, even though I'm going to be indoors and there's potential for tornadoes. Of course, we're in Oklahoma, so there's always potential for tornadoes. So I think that's going to be around 3-4 hours. Hopefully, our power doesn't go out, but that's 3 to 4 hours from now. So okay, I'm glad to know that I'm not the only person that's not seeing the board. I'll go ahead and just run through the competitors here. We've got in our first games, we got Josh Alexander, the general, taking on Arya Roy Chaudhary. Arya has been like on fire recently. This is a younger competitor who has gained like 400 rating points in just a span of a few months. He played up in the Texas class championship or some class related tournament. He played up a section and then he won it outright, which is absolutely insane. Usually you play up, you're not going to win any money. He won the entire tournament. It's
Yeah, he
absolutely
won it
crazy.
clearly. Yeah, exactly. So he's
And
he's he's tough.
we've got a pair of national masters in one of the other games. Tom Bronlich taking on Chuck Unruh, and I mean they both have been at it for a while and always consistently produce good games. So that should be an exciting matchup. And we have the tournament rating favorite Ryan Ambergy taking on David Lovescombe, who's in similar boat to Josh, looking to make national master with a really good tournament. But both are about 50 points away. Josh a little bit closer with only 42. 30-minute delay. I don't think there should be a 30-minute delay on the DGT board. Okay. And
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
we've got Chris on site right now who mentioned that the moves are captured by the boards but not transmitting to the website.
Yeah, sorry, we're not live on TikTok. I believe we're just live through Twitch tonight, right?
Yeah, I don't know how to go live on TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok. They wouldn't allow me to be there, unfortunately. I'm barely I'm barely young enough to do this Twitch thing.
Oh, thank you, ZJ Termination. Yeah, spectator delay. Yeah, we could figure out how long that might be.
I really doubt that they would intentionally put a delay in because I don't think that anybody playing in the tournament should be on the stream. Because I do
Yeah.
have chess.com pulled up and we can pull up the analysis bar and look at the engines if we would like. So it is what it is here. Okay, I've got some text coming in and they're in the process of looking at it. That is the latest update, though. It's never officially the start of a tournament
Oh,
until you have technical difficulties.
try refreshing now. And how's it going, Chris? Welcome to the chat. Good to
All
see you.
right, we have action here.
All
We've
right. Okay.
got
Yeah.
we've got General Zod's game here. I'm gonna go back in time and
Right.
get all the moves going up here. I opened up the E4. We have a good Sicilian from Arya, knight f3, d6, d4, c
Oh
takes.
wow, Arya is playing Sicilian. Okay.
I like it. You play the Sicilian with black. You're saying that I want to play for a win, and that's fine. You do not want some boring symmetrical position and try to get a draw with black. You want to come out here and you want to go for the win. And sometimes you end up losing, but that's
And
life.
this is interesting because stylistically he would often play the Caro Kann, uh, historically at least. So it seems like he's within the last few months switched over to playing Sicilian.
Yeah, this all looks relatively standard. A little bit aggressive here with the early b5. I'm not super up to my theory, but I don't know. They
I
usually
believe this is the Polygaevsky variation of it's the Najdorf, right? But it's
it's the Najdorf, but that's a very early b5.
yeah, it's
It's
an old
probably
line.
it's probably completely fine though.
Yeah, yeah. Zod for the Zod fans, he's playing as white in this game.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, we've got this position, and judging by the time used, not too much time being used. You got to be careful trusting these things, but this looks very reasonable at the moment. It looks like that both are probably relatively in book. I mean, Zod started with 1 hour and 30 minutes plus 30-second increments, and he's
Okay, so
used
hang on here.
very little time.
We have from Mr. Emergy. Apparently, this might not be the correct game. This happened last year where we have. Okay, so yeah, this happened last year. All right, good to know. Just so that way we don't get ahead of ourselves. The titles of who is playing is incorrect. So this current game that is being played is Ambergy versus Lusco.
Okay, that's good
And
to
some
know.
yeah, which okay, that's where I'm like, man, Arya's playing the Sicilian. That's a surprise.
So okay, that's not a new opening from him. I'm just gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
I've got this board set up here. We've got the ratings of each player, and I'll go ahead and set this up with
Oh yeah,
Ryan
sure.
and David's name, and that will be less confusing potentially. And we can also make moves and look at lines potentially later on with the analysis board. I'm curious. I'm curious about this here. Uh, yeah, okay. The engine is completely fine with B5. I thought it was somewhat strange, and then I was surprised when he took. I felt like B4 was a lot more instinctual. I taking there is very surprising, and the engine isn't very uh, doesn't really love that as much. I mean, we've already got a very nice opening edge for Ryan. I mean, almost an entire pawn right out of the opening. And so this is exactly what Ryan would have wanted to start his game with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
If
I'm
I'm
gonna
Ryan,
move
I'm happy.
this here so that it's there. Now we've got to figure out the other games. So this game is being advertised as
Rumlik
Tom
versus
versus
Unruh.
Chuck.
And it,
Is this
yeah.
accurate?
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, if somebody who's there could let us know. And Mr. Pusberg, this exact scenario you're suggesting happened last year. We actually did get a game wrong, and we didn't know until the very end, or for a very long time into the game. So once I saw that that was happening, my mind immediately flashed back to that. So thanks again to Chris for just correcting us on that
Yeah,
because
no problem.
it's important. So
It defaults to round five, which is very weird. So we have confirmation in the chat from Chris that this game is actually Zod's game. So Zod is white facing Arya, and Jake called it. He said that Arya plays the Khan, and that's exactly what we have here. So
all right.
he hasn't deviated much from his opening here.
Yeah,
This game right here that we have, this is General Zod. Zod is white in this game.
Okay, so someone was asking about an alien gambit earlier. This might be possible. We haven't seen the moves yet, but
This
okay.
looks. I was being very
Oh,
complimentary of Arya for wanting to come out and be super aggressive, and then like he starts trading pieces immediately. And this is what frustrates me when I play people when I'm worried that they just want to play for a draw and start trading immediately, and then I do stupid things and just lose because I would rather lose than draw. So,
yeah, yeah. I have the same affliction.
but yeah, here this looks relatively peaceful. I'm not an expert in this line, but to me, I would say that yeah, I would have this a little bit slight edge for white. You've got the two bishops; they're both relatively good bishops. This black bishop is not really going to be accomplishing much. Um, so yeah, I would prefer to have the white pieces here, and I'll go ahead and set this up on chess.com as well. That way, we also
Oh,
have the names, and that can be less confusing in the
sure.
future.
And thank you again for apparently the Unruh Tom Bronlick game is correct. So thank you for confirming that. Appreciate the help. I know these things can always be a little dicey if you don't get the direct feedback immediately, so I appreciate it. And yeah, I agree, ZJ Termination. The Alien Gambit in Classical is tough because I believe there's a line where Black can play C5 at some point early on, and it kind of just like ruins the fun. Actually, I was talking about this with General Zod and act in real life the other day. But all right, so where are we at?
Yeah,
But
the computer says that black is equalized here, and so much for my theory that I like the two bishops. Because apparently, in this type of position with a lot of pawns on the board and very little places for the bishops to go, this might be, a good position for the knights. So, all right, and we have taken a look at that game. Let's go ahead and I'll move this back here. Take our first look at Tom
yeah,
versus Chuck. So here we've got Tom is white and Chuck is black. You've got e4, d6. It looks like we're going for a perk type setup, which
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's always better to figure out these things early. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so oh yeah, and Tom likes this kind of stuff. I've seen him do this in many games.
Tom is white, but yeah, I would prefer Tom's position here as well. It's an interesting style thing because people who play this with black generally are very well prepared. They've played these type of positions a lot, And from the white side of things, it's very easy to get overexcited, and like I would be like H4, H5, right? You know, which is
Right.
probably undisciplined, and like he hasn't even castled yet, so probably a little bit premature. But oh yeah, okay. So he does H3, G4. So Tom has very similar ideas to me of just wanting to launch the pawns. He's wanting to go ahead and play G5 and tear that position open a little bit.
Wow, yeah. Just rivet. And don't worry, Karma, we're gonna jump around to all of the games. It's a classical over the board tournament, so there's a pretty good chance that some of these moves could take 10 minutes or more sometimes. So we'll get plenty of chances to see all the games.
Yeah, we're currently just in a little bit of a catch-up mode because we had the a little bit of a delayed start to get going here. But now that we are back at it, we are live and everything's good to go. These names on the chess.com boards will be correct, along with the ratings. The ratings are the USCF ratings at the moment. So
Okay, great. So, forgive me, is this Chuck Unruh the elder or Chuck Unruh the younger?
um, I'm
I
going
don't
to
know if we know.
assume elder, because
Yeah, okay.
if there's one that's older, um, then I'm questioning whether or not they would be alive, which would be it's cruel. It's a cruel thing to say, but it also is the circle of life, as we've learned from the Lion
Yeah,
King. So
yeah, right.
the
Okay, it's the elder. Thank you, Torrent. Appreciate it.
but yeah, here this looks Queen D2 with the idea of castling long is just something that's completely ridiculous and something that I would do. Yeah, he's telegraphing that he wants to attack here, and I like that. I support that. I would have gone with H4, but he went with H3 with the idea of playing G4. Very similar ideas. This is probably a little bit better than what I would have done. Um, but yeah, we have this position on the board, and let's see here. I've
Wow.
got my okay. Yes, I'm happy now. I've got my board set up. Everything is next to each other. We finally have our scenes. I've ignored Twitch chat, but luckily you've been keeping track with
Yeah,
them.
I'll do my best to monitor the chat, and I appreciate all the people chiming in, offering some ideas. Thanks for help with the technical audio stuff, so video stuff.
All right. So, chat has been demanding for more updates from the General Zod's game. Understandable. This is his channel after all, and we're happy to have 114 viewers here. Here supporting him. Uh, his position has not changed from the last time we've looked at it. So this is the overall position. We've got complete zeros, and yeah. What type of ideas would you have for this type of position? Because now we're kind of in the space of coming up with ideas, and Josh is in a long think here.
Yeah, and it's sometimes tough when you have a lot of decent choices. I mean, I'm thinking he's got potential access to the E file with his rook. Maybe he wants to connect his rooks by moving his queen out of the way.
Yeah, it's Arya's move now, and it's hard to come up with a move with black. Like my instincts would be something like Queen B6 because I want to play Queen B3 with white, but you can Queen C2,
Right.
Rook D1, Rook E1 type of ideas here. This is going to be kind of a slower maneuvering type of position, and from General Zod's point of view, you want to be able to win this kind of positional game against your younger opponent. But then again, you've got the two bishops, so you also kind of want to blow up the world as well. So it's hard to say.
Right, right. And it's tough just because, at least stylistically, this is the type of game that Arya wants. So he's used to this kind of stuff. He's commonly playing these kind of setups. So it'll be interesting to see how Josh handles this.
Interesting because if I was not back in my day when kids were younger and just wanted to be aggressive and attack, they would hate playing a structure like this. So it's interesting to know that
Right.
that's in his is in his style. I'm not as familiar with Arya. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I've played him over the board yet.
That's honestly that's what makes him so tough, right? Is that he's willing to play into these sort of dry positions and he'll sit there and grind out a game and he's patient, right? Whereas a lot of people sort of in his typical age group, they just want to, sling their pieces around and try to get some sort of result as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's interesting. We do have knight b6 on the board from Arya. So he took a long think and played knight b6. I wanted to put the queen there. I don't know if he really improved his position of his knight. Is he wanting to, I don't know, jump it into maybe potentially knight c4? I don't know where it goes from there. Like, I
Or
don't know what we're really doing here.
yeah, or at least from Arya's perspective, this feels like a sort of a cousin potential. I know it's not the exact move orders, but like a weird cousin of the Grunfeld. And I know this knight often can sort of jump back and forth. Yeah, with aiming at like D5 or C4 or something.
Yeah, D5 makes a lot of sense here. Uh, Chat asked what our ratings are. I used to be 2,000, but I've lost 130 points since moving to Oklahoma, so that's a compliment to you all. I'm originally from Alabama, and I moved here about 2 years ago, and I've lost 130 points since. So the struggle is
Yeah,
real.
I'm in the neighborhood of 18. I think I got over 1800s, 1830 at my peak or something. And then because of my job and stuff, I mostly play online. My peak on chess.com, I got up to 2270, I think. So I don't know. I always jokingly see I'm okay, but I don't know. I'm not like everyone in
You're
this tournament is definitely better than I am.
you're a 2200, so you're basically a national master on chess.com. And
Yeah.
I'm like a super GM on Lee Chess, if anyone asks.
Oh, right, right. Yeah. But yeah, once you play actual national masters, though, then you learn the lesson.
Where can you see Zod's game live? So I'll go ahead and I'll copy this into chat. So if you don't want to, ah, it will not let me do that. Hold on. Um, could you go ahead? Let's see
Oh,
here.
yeah, I can post that. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For those of you who are curious, obviously I'm not General Zod, so I'm streaming on my Streamlabs on his account, and the settings are kind of weird. So I can read chat, but I can't actually chat in chat. It's kind of messed up. So yeah, I had a long time ago a Twitch channel that streamed a game called Gods Unchained, which that game is like no longer a thing, and I haven't streamed in over a year, so this is new and exciting for me. But also
Yeah.
excited to do this tournament. I haven't done chess commentary uh, like this before.
And then I also do like the history of chess. It's been a while since I've streamed as well, but at least during the pandemic, I was doing like different topics on the history of chess like every single day while we were all stuck in isolation. Let me see
So
here. So
yeah,
hopefully
we've
that link
got
works for everyone.
all right. Yeah, we've got a couple of moves in this game. So Chuck played Queen A5, and it looks like Tom had pre-moved Bishop G2. It's the classic: you move your G pawn, you play Bishop G2, and luckily he had prevented the Bishop H3 pre-move stuff, which is less effective over the board, but you never know.
All right. And just a heads up, apparently the names have been corrected on the live board.
Right
So
here, I'll go
thanks for the
ahead
update on that.
and refresh. All right, so I need to make this one Josh's game. Excellent here. So yeah, Josh went, General Zod went knight c1. So they're going to get into
Interesting.
this little maneuvering thing. It's actually one of the top engine moves available. He wants to, I think, plant the knight on c5 eventually. So he can go this
Yes.
way or this way, and now obviously Arya used the entire move to move his knight to b6. Now I'm thinking he wants to use a move here to play, you know, knight to d7. But yeah, right now the engine wants a knight, I think, to come to d5, which I think is very logical. If you're going to play knight d7 to b6, you're going to want to plant a knight on d5, and then I think
Yeah, my
Josh
guess
just
was
will simply
E5,
retreat.
but yeah, C5 also looks really annoying. So yeah, they're both good options.
Yeah, you can go for c5 here. Uh,
But
I
yeah,
don't know if if I can just take it and then try to hold it. I'm always a person who likes to get very pawn grabby, and I'm
yeah,
not worried about trading queens. So I'm wondering if I could just take it and then hold it and then say that I've got 4 versus 2 on this side of the board and try to make that decisive. Uh,
yeah, that's reasonable. And that dark square bishop is just going to be a real headache if Zod is able to attack like the B7 pawn, for example.
oh yeah, if it's hard to play. It's hard to play c5 right now because it does hang the b7 pawn, and that would actually lose an exchange because the rook would have no squares because this bishop doesn't move like that, but it goes to that that square there. Yeah, it can't go to a8. That would be the type of thing you would see from like a Washington Square street hustler. You know,
Yeah, right.
uh,
And
sometimes
then I
dark square bishops become light square bishops there.
right. Oh yeah, that's happened to me in Chicago a few times. Yeah. Um, and I think he's just going to be able to play like rookie. Well, there's a lot of like I think relatively straightforward moves now for him. So
Couple of game moves from the Tom versus Chuck game. We've got h5, which is interesting, moving a pawn in front of your king like that, and Tom is going to elect to kind of lock it up. And it's tough here for Chuck because he's kind of boxing in his own pieces. This bishop here is very sad. It's like I don't know the saying here, but I'll make up a saying. This bishop is kind of like that bishop that graduated college and is looking for an entry level job, and all the entry level jobs require 5 years of experience. So, yeah, it, that's life.
welcome,
So,
guys. Welcome new people in the
yeah,
channel, or not new people, but General Zod's currently playing a classical game in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right now, on DGT boards. So we're just sharing his games and the other games with you guys.
yeah. So this is an invitational tournament with 6 of the best players from Oklahoma. Josh or General Zod being one of them. This is his game that we have right here. And we've got the position up to date, and it's gonna. This is a 90-minute plus 30-second increment game, so it will take. These players will use their time and think about their moves. Um, but yeah, okay. I haven't gone to the Ryan Ambergy versus David Luscombe game
Yeah,
in
I'm
a minute.
interested in this game. This is
So
going to be a struggle, but it's going to be interesting.
we have Bishop C4 played, G6. Very interesting opening approach from Luscombe. 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 I'm hearing myself echo, and I don't know why.
Oh no.
I'm hearing myself echo. Yeah, I think it might be pulling off of your microphone. I could be wrong, though. So castles, bishop g7, queen e2, castles, rook d1. Queen e2, castles, rook d1. So this is the current position, and yeah, I would really prefer to have white here personally. I'm thinking about ideas of potentially f4, maybe knight f3, and e5, and take this nice open file that I've got for my rook and try to do some damage. Of course, black has some moves, so they will not get steamrolled like this. Am I his relative? I am not related to General Zod. which is I know that's going to shock chat. We currently live in the same state, but yeah, we're not related.
Does
So
this
go ahead.
help?
Okay, I don't hear an echo now, so that's good.
Okay, yeah, I
So
was gonna say I think I fixed it. Sorry about that, everyone.
yeah,
Okay.
and your sound is coming clearer to me than it was before. So I'm hoping chat can verify for me. Does he sound better?
Sorry about that, everyone, if that was the case. My apologies. All right, here, let me just make sure. Okay, and it appears as though it's also evening up on time with the Zod and Arya game. They're both at roughly, using up about approximately 13, 14 minutes.
I'm always skeptical on the times of the DGT boards because I was watching the
Yeah.
candidates coverage, and it felt like every game there was a players that there were players that were losing on time. So is Arya a girl? It is not Arya Stark. It is Arya Chaudhary. It's a guy. Yeah, yeah. Game of Thrones. I can't blame you. I can't blame you there. We love Game of Thrones, or at least I do. So, all right, we have another move here by Chuck, and it's very interesting. It's the engine's like B3, which to me is completely non-intuitive for Tom. Oh, or you're losing, or you're slightly worse. I guess the threat of coming in with the knight to C4,
Right. I think you've got to stop that.
and I think that's why Chuck moved his knight to B6 was to try to play that. So the engine is screaming for a prophylactic B3. The thing is a lot of times you're scared of playing B3 because this bishop can oftentimes get very scary on certain tactics. Of course, the engine spoils that there are no tactics to worry about. That being said, Tom doesn't have the luxury of having that in front of him. So he has to weigh whether or not potentially weakening his queen side. And the way that Tom played this with the early queen d2 and playing g4, g5, h3, he's played this as if he wants to castle queenside. So it's very hard to play b3 when psychologically in your head you've already castled queenside in your mind. So it'll be interesting to see
Right.
if Tom finds the correct move here. And all right, we have a move in Zod's game, or actually two moves in Zod's game. I missed, let's see here, knight f to d5, and of course, General Zod blitzes out the correct move, bishop g3. Very, very instinctual type of move here. You want to hit my bishop, I'm going to move my bishop, and I'm going to keep it on this nice diagonal.
Right. And ZJ termination, the number one seed is definitely Ryan Ambergy.
Yeah, we've got ratings on all these boards here on the chess.com analysis boards. Ryan Ambergy's over 2,400 in FM. And we've got a lot of players that are, national master, uh, you know, or very close to national master, like David Luscombe, and obviously General Zod is 42 points away and could hit national master with a really good tournament. But this is going to be a difficult field to have that type of tournament against. But yeah, I like his position, General Zod's position overall. Again, I said two bishops. I think it was Bobby Fischer said, or who said it? It's like two bishops. What else? Or something. It wasn't
Yeah,
Fischer.
something along those lines, right?
Yeah, or
Um,
it might have been Fischer. I don't know. Yeah. Now that I think about the accent, it was probably someone who was Russian. Or yeah, because it's like two bishops. What else? Or something along those lines. And he's got the
yeah,
two bishops.
yeah. Could have been Spassky or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's for me. I don't play these type of positions a lot, So I want to move my pawns up here, and of course, where the position of those bishops are, it's not very logical. So I would have a very hard time to come up with a plan in Josh's position. I'm guessing there's going to be some type of knight maneuver in the future, but yeah, if Arya is comfortable with this could be something that is good for him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say he is within his wheelhouse still. And as far as I'm aware, we're just going by USCF rating. I'm not sure that this is FIDE rated. Someone's asking in the chat, but
This is a USCF rated tournament. We do have one TD in Oklahoma who can run FIDE related tournaments, and we had a FIDE rated tournament last year. Uh, Fun fact: I've played in 3 FIDE tournaments in my lifetime, and I've not won a game. I've got 6 draws and 6 losses. So those are have been some of my worst USCF rated tournaments. Have been the 3 FIDE rated tournaments I've played in. So my FIDE rating is probably quite low. I don't want to look at that.
it always feels, I don't know why it is the same thing, same building, same people, but I don't know why the FIDE aspect of it always just feels like it turns it up a notch a little bit.
I think part of it is because historically have done better in like game 60 time controls, and of course FIDE is 90 plus 30 or even slower than that, right? So yeah, this is not FIDE rated. Good news
Okay.
for people who are pulling for Tom. He found B3. Uh, like I was saying, this isn't a super easy move to find, even though the engine said was screaming to play it, because you open up this bishop, and I wanted to castle long, and and you don't want to if you're playing B3, that doesn't help the castling long. But maybe Tom is like, my king is perfectly safe on E1, and I don't have to castle this game. That could be his idea,
Yeah.
and I think Chuck also might be like, I'm not going to castle either. So we can have a game where neither side castles and just leaves the king in the center of the board. And I think the kings might be safer in the center of the board than if they picked a side to go to.
Right. And it's interesting because they've definitely played each other, I mean, potentially hundreds of times over the years. So you have to cook up something new for these kinds of events, right? So I bet Tom researched this pretty deeply. I
I
wonder if he
would
was just
be
confirming prep.
I would be very surprised if Tom was in his prep, though. I mean, if you look at the time used, he's used 8 minutes plus the increments, so he hasn't used very much time if those times are correct. So he could have been in his prep, and Chuck could have been kind of out in the streets. Which, I mean, if you're Tom and you're preparing yourself for an opening, and you get this nice 0.68 in the opening edge, you're feeling good about yourself. Um, all right, let's see. We've got
How's
some
it going?
moves here, and yeah, this game which I have neglected. Uh,
Yeah, 90 plus 30 bottled cappuccino. Welcome to the chat.
Knight takes c6,
And
bishop takes c6.
so far, I don't think we've had too many irresponsible time sinks, right? We haven't really had anyone.
No, I think the closest we have here is we've got Chuck falling a little bit behind, um, but nothing too bad. So it looks like right here, um, Ryan just won a pawn, and he's going to be like,
Yeah.
"All right, I'm up a pawn. I'm going to try to convert it." The engine's like, "This is completely sound." So this is not a good start for David. I would not want to play against Ryan a pawn down with very little compensation. It looks like to
Yeah,
me,
I don't think
but
Ryan's unhappy at all.
yeah, it's also very nice to have a plan and in a position. I know Ryan is a good enough player that this isn't usually hard, but it's nice to be like, okay, I'm up a pawn, and I just need to prove that being up a pawn is is good enough to win. So
Yeah, that it matters. Right, right.
yeah,
So
so
what is Black gonna do here? Try to just throw everything at E4?
well, right now it looks like David is going to attack the queen side here. this currently, even though this doesn't threaten anything, this bishop on c1 probably wants to move, and now it can't without losing the b2 pawn. So the engine wants to play b3, and again, like playing b3 with this light squared bishop is a little bit scary. Though you don't have a rook on a1 anymore, so it's a little bit less scary.
Okay. Thank you for the here. I can back up a little bit if I'm too loud. But Salticide says that he can hear me, but it says your voice is faint.
All right,
So
I
here, maybe
will mess with my sound settings here.
welcome
So
in, Gideon. He is Joshua Alexander. So here, I can share the link to the games if you guys want to just follow his game specifically. But we're going to jump around from game to game to game just so that way we can sort of show off all of the best talent, all the best players in Oklahoma.
all right here. So what I've done is I've tuned Jake down a little bit. So if you turn your sound up, hopefully you're not getting because for me for some reason it says that my mic is like basically full blast. So
Yeah, I hear you very well, so that's where I was kind of surprised. But
yeah, I did quiet. Jake should be a little bit quieter now, so that could mess with the sound settings. All right, we have a move in General Zod's game, Josh's game, and h5. What do you think about that? I'm very surprised to see that.
wow. All right, Arya. Man, it's trying to reach out and touch them. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I generally don't like to create weaknesses in front of my king. If I'm General Zod here, I'm thinking of getting some sort of attack going. Of course, I was thinking that before he did that. Um, they're you're gonna look up the venue they're playing in on Google Maps. Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
and I believe it's organized through the Tulsa Chess Club and just the overall Oklahoma Chess Association. I'm not exactly sure of the location. I believe last year they played in a hotel. I don't think.
This year, it's being played in Tom's apartment complex. He's got like a lounge area that he was able to use. So it's
Ooh.
not really free to come in and out for all spectators unless you had prior authorization. Let's put it that way. It's not as
Okay.
open as it was when it was held at the University of Tulsa, where just about anyone could come and spectate.
Okay, good to know, man.
Um, but yeah, I think a couple of chess players live in that apartment complex because I believe who was it? There's another one. I blanked on his name. He's in 1800 in Tulsa. He was in downtown Tulsa, and I played him like 3 times. Yeah,
Hmm. So I'm wondering, what do you think is he gonna do here? Is the how's
I don't
Arya's
under
gonna?
I don't
Yeah.
understand H5 from a strategic standpoint. Um, like, what's his next move? Is he going to play?
Right. What's the
Is he
follow
playing
up,
for
right?
this? That's that's very. It forces this bishop to move, and it's very interesting because let's say we waste some moves and that he actually gets this, then H4 actually traps the bishop. Yeah, dually. Okay, Chris, I
Oh
completely
yeah,
lost him.
Crystal. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying here. Yeah. So
So, like
okay.
for
So he
instance, if you try to save it, you know, all right, but
interesting. So yes,
Josh
really
isn't
giving up
going
your own.
to give. He's not going to play King H1 and then King G1 and just shuffle and completely just pass. He's gonna play actual chess moves and not blunder his bishop. So I don't think that this is anything to worry about. Um, so yeah, from his point of view. So H5, and all right, we've got Knight D3 played by General Zot, and yeah, he's.
Ah, okay. Thank you, Stevo. Yeah, Stevo Watani. Welcome. Yeah, Knight D3.
I like this. This knight has so many places it can go. This looks fun. sometimes this can be fun. This can be fun, particularly
Hmm.
with the h5 already played. Getting your knight here to f4 makes it so that you can't play g5. If Arya plays g5 right now, it shows that he's going with his plan, but wondering if his plan is for instance that pawn just hangs. So I don't think that that's a good idea. But I can't think of any other reason why you would have played h5. Yeah, I think Jiro's
Yeah.
move is very nice. It gives you a lot of options, and he doesn't commit to anything. So I like this move.
Yeah, and that's what really like about he's just very flexible, right? His position can go in many different directions here, I think. So I'm concerned. I mean, maybe is Arya's idea to at some point play, I'm just envisioning like playing pawn e6 to where the queen has some scope and then maybe going for h4.
Yeah. So this is being threatened. So let's say if we waste a move hypothetically. Oh, you've got f4 as a square now, and can escape. At least it doesn't get trapped.
Yeah, but then that's where I think Arya would be happy to trade out your bishop pair or at least
Yeah,
get rid of White's good bishop and
but he's not wasting a move with king g1 either. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But yeah, e6 seemed like a very logical move. You're putting all of your pawns on light squares, which is nice when you've got a dark square bishop. So this bishop doesn't have to run into any of his own pawns. So that sounds great.
yeah. Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and see if we've had some moves here. And it's interesting that Tom has castled short. I said that b3 might be a little bit awkward for him because it looked like he was setting up to castle long. And now he's just like, oh, well, I'm not castling long anymore, so I'm going to castle short. And the one thing this does is it does connect the rooks. But oddly enough, I don't think the king is necessarily safer here. A lot of times you're castling for king safety reasons, and this doesn't appear to actually keep the king safer than where it was originally.
Yeah. Another question here is like, how does Chuck fix his queen now?
That's a
I
good
feel like
point.
it's
The queen is like almost getting scared of getting trapped. Like he's
yeah,
got these squares. The only thing that's encouraging is this bishop is on g2, so it's not on this diagonal, because otherwise that would be cutting off some key squares. But yeah,
how's it going so far, Weeping Willie?
I think that you've got to maybe move this knight to d7 to get the queen some life if you have to. Um, that being said, there's not a very convenient way for Tom to ask questions to this queen. And this queen does have kind of this not a real pin, but like a half pin going on here with Tom's queen. It would just be a queen trade, so not losing anything. But that's a queen trade I don't think Tom wants to make here either.
Yeah.
It's it's a I think if you're playing a perk type of position, you're probably pretty happy with this from Chuck's perspective because it's kind of difficult for White to do much here. It's your first day on Twitch and you came here just for Zod, and then you see me. It's the struggle is real. Well, Zod is playing a live over the board tournament, and we don't let you live stream those, especially with engines. uh, actually, there are some people who do live stream them without. Uh, you can't stream your own game and commentate on it at the same time. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
You'd have to have someone else commentate on it. So yeah, there hasn't been any update here. Arya's still thinking, um, and yeah, it looks like here that Ryan has played b3, which again was what the engine was saying to do. Something that I'm slightly worried to open up this diagonal to this bishop, but the
Yeah.
bishop has nothing to attack. There's no rook on a1 anymore, so yeah, this is completely fine.
Yeah, and Ryan's given himself safety release valve. He's got an escape score on H2, so he should be all right.
Yeah, uh, I feel like that out of all the people playing right now, Ryan has the best position out of the opening. If you can call this the opening, because he won the pawn that was kind of fringe opening, fringe middle game. I think he got a strategic edge in the opening and then was able to convert that to winning this a6 pawn. And now Ryan is going to try to press and prove that that pawn is enough to win the game. I know that
Right. So,
a lot of you have watched the candidates recently and know that sometimes a pawn's not enough. Sometimes you end up drawn, just all you get's a pawn.
right. So where do you want to, if you're playing as Ryan, where do you want to put your dark square bishop?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, like, there's a part of me that wants to put it on g5. I
Right?
don't really have a
Yeah.
good reason. I just like it there. um, I want to put it on to g5 so I run into the queen a5 tactics and then have to move back to d2. Uh,
Right.
I don't know. Um, but I'm also, somewhat concerned if I'm Ryan that this knight on f6 moves, you're immediately threatening this knight on c3, which is no longer defended. So this bishop comes in right
Uh,
here. So you could argue for maybe like bishop d2 just feels passive though. Um,
right. Yeah. Yeah. Of all of them, bishop D2 is the one I don't want to do, but
Bishop
yeah.
b2 is interesting. It's very combative. You get on the same diagonal, and you give your option to play rook a1, which is interesting as well. This bishop defending
Right.
here, going in. I don't know if the a file is worth fighting for, um, but it's an
Yeah.
idea.
Unless you're Sindarov.
Yeah, the candidates was very difficult for the men unless you're Sindarov, and then it was not very difficult for Sindarov for sure. So yeah, I think it's David's move here, and I think it's kind of difficult for David to come up with a move because he's in a position where all of his pieces are in kind of good squares. So how do you
Yeah.
improve David's position here?
Right. They're where they want to be. So that's what I'm concerned with at least. I mean, is he gonna try something like knight h5? Or I mean that's silly maybe, but
I mean, I think that knight d7 with maybe the idea of going to e5 is a maneuver. Uh, so I think that definitely moving the knight is an idea. Um,
yeah, no, that makes sense. Hmm.
or maybe even come into c5 if that makes sense as well. So it's just difficult because the thing about David's position is he's down a pawn, yes, but besides that, he doesn't have any real weaknesses in his position, which is
True.
what which is going to be what makes this somewhat difficult for Ryan. Even though I have full trust that he's going to be able to figure out a way to make the pawn matter, is you don't have clear weaknesses to attack anymore. He got rid of the one weakness on a6. He won it. He won it very quickly. Sometimes winning a battle like that is better to win it like a long ways in the future than to win it immediately. It's because sometimes if you win that battle immediately, then it's just, okay. It's just a pawn. Now you got to prove the pawn. It's worth something. While if you win it later in the game, maybe you get a little bit more out of it. But they will probably be in a decent think there. And we've got, looks to be a couple of moves played here. So we have e6 being played, which is interesting because this light square bishop is, you're talking about the queen getting trapped earlier. Well, this bishop, geez, if we could just move that pawn, well, I guess this h pawn is not a threat, but if there were like ways to play like f3 and then move this pawn backwards, we could trap this bishop. Um, but yeah, we've got also a3 here being played by Tom, and we're kind of creeping up into potentially playing b4. And so, like, let's say Chuck wastes a move here and plays like castles. Then
Yeah,
you've got
castle.
b4, and then you got a6, and it's forced because the queen's only square that it can escape to is queen to a6. So right now, um, Chuck needs to address his queen's lack of mobility. So a3 is a quiet-looking move that threatens to win a piece. So
Yeah, this is dangerous.
yeah, it's interesting. The engine's like 97 is the or is the best move. Um, and the idea is if you get the queen to a6, b5 is no longer a fork. I would instinctually move like knight d7. I wonder what's wrong with that. If you play knight d7, you're giving up this d5 break, and
Uh,
that's
yeah, that
not
was
good.
mine. Real Grego, Zod is playing as white in his game. This is the Rozsa Cup, I believe the fourth annual, held in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's a 90 plus 30 classical over the board tournament. And we're just commentating because we know General Zod. So we're helping him
Yeah.
out, getting his teams out there.
Yeah, we wanted to have a good audience for this. This is an invitational tournament with 6 of the top players in Oklahoma, General Zod being one of them, earning an invite to this tournament. And we've got a very good field that's going to promise to produce competitive games every single round. And so far, we've got 3 competitive games going right now. General Zod just played h3, so there's no more worrying about this bishop ever getting trapped because it's always got h2 to escape. And so it's just kind of a nice little prophylactic waiting move. Who is currently the highest rated player in the tournament? It would be Ryan Ambergy here, right here, 24-25 USCF and an FN. So very strong player right now. He would be the favorite. And let's see. Let's take a look at the time situations. We've got Arya down. It looks like
Below 1 hour, right?
yeah, below an hour. I mean, he's a little bit down on the clock. Like 13 minutes down on the clock here. Chuck down almost 20 minutes, 19 minutes. Interesting. He played a move. He played queen to a6, which is interesting, saying that b4 no longer wins a piece.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I want to play b4 anyways. Like, okay, you're trying to get me to not play b4. Where I just want to ignore you and play b4. But the engine does not like that. So apparently there's this knight, this c4 coming in here is the idea.
Yeah, I would say that there's some escape squares that form here.
And we got this.
Oh, welcome, guys. Welcome. The youngest player is Arya. He's young, but he's over 2,000, so he's very strong. And
Welcome.
yeah,
If we
I don't
just
know.
had a raid, I see a lot of people with a raid in the chat. That's cool. I'm not getting the notification, which is weird.
Yeah, it might just be one guy.
Could be. I don't know. But interesting move by Chuck though, playing queen a6, and then it provoked a blunder out of me because I wanted to play b4. I just wanted to slam b4 and threaten to b5, but apparently that is a pretty big blunder to knight c4. So that's an interesting trappy move by Chuck. And it'll be interesting to see if Tom makes the same blunder I made. Probably won't. He probably is more in tune with the position than I am at the moment. So, and yeah, we've got David Lipscomb here behind on the clock as well. I'm going to get something to drink real quick. The nice thing about living in a studio apartment is you don't have a very long walk to the refrigerator. So that's the nice thing. This tournament is 5 rounds.
Yep.
Uh,
And we are in round one.
so
Oh, okay. Yeah, rook b4.
Rook b4. This is a nice active move. He's wanting to get in some more pressure on this e4 square, and yeah, it's kind of a logical move. The engine wants to play bishop c4 here, which I don't quite understand. Does cut off the rook's communication here.
Yeah, but it still feels odd because there's so many pieces still firing at e4, but
Yeah, because you're removing a defender from e4. I get that you're cutting off an attacker, but it's kind of
yeah.
non-intuitive. There's a part of me that wants to do an e5 break at some point, but the problem is you unleash the power of this bishop.
Yeah, you just lose g2 and h3 is looking pretty ugly.
There's always f3, but f3 is something that, Ben Feigold told us to never play f3.
Right, it's a tough concession to make in the long
Yeah.
term.
But it does completely stop off this light square bishop and any ideas of doing anything on e4. So it's a prophylactic idea. I'm curious what the engine would say. Oh, the engine's okay. The engine did not say mean things to me. So I've made one engine move. It's good. F4. Yeah, F4 is a little bit more aggressive. The problem with the F4, and then if we like waste a move, E5 idea is we've got this, and we've got this problem, which, I mean, it's not a threat yet because the queen guards the square, but I think long term it could be a threat. So I'm slightly concerned about that. If I'm Ryan.
Thank you, Real Grego. Zod is playing the white pieces in his game today. I just posted the link once again. It should link you right to his game.
So, this is currently Zod's position. He's got a very nice edge with white according to the engine, but materials even, and this is a type of position that Arya is real comfortable playing. So they should have a good fight on their hands right now. But nothing to be super concerned with. Another nice thing for Josh here is he's starting to develop a nice time advantage as we see Arya try to come up with a plan in this position, which I would struggle. I would struggle.
Yeah, that's what's interesting here is so I would say Arya is fine, right? But what do you do to get your rooks active and meaningful? Like what is he going to try to break through on the E file, C file?
Yeah. Coming up with a plan is very difficult. I mean, there's a part of you that wants to maybe try a break like this, but then I mean you've got long term problems of potentially like this. Like you've got c4, maybe potentially kicking the knight and then winning the pawn on b7. It's something you've got to worry about. You could try an e5 break as well, but I mean with the knight and the bishop and the pawn, we've got a lot of reinforcements on that square, so that's not going to be easy to accomplish either. So it is. I can see where Arya's in the tank kind of right now, spending a lot of time because it's difficult to come up with a plan, and I think that's why the engine is saying that Josh is almost up a pawn but the material is completely even. So that is
right.
The engine definitely likes the overall position.
Right.
General Zod's real name is Josh Alexander. It's right here at the bottom. Did I accidentally leak his name? I mean, it's on the screen.
Oh no, you shared it because we've shared it before, at least in other like last year's stream, that kind of a thing. So yeah, I think he's not afraid of being in the chess public.
I mean, it would also be kind of telling here. You could figure it out. There's a lot of different ways with our screens that we have set up here where we're potentially leaking the name. But yeah, I think General Zod's in a pretty good position to get started. It's always nice to start off a tournament with a win if he's able to accomplish that. All right, we have some action here, and the good news for Tom is he didn't blunder like I did. He played knight e4, which the engine says is apparently not very good. Yeah, I was wondering about how trapped this light square bishop almost was, and now you're giving Chuck the opportunity to just trade that bishop off for a knight. And this is the type of position where a knight can be stronger than a bishop.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah, the engine really hated this move by Tom and is just saying that hey, if you trade the bishop for the knight, we're equalized. Still a lot of chess to play, of course, but I'm kind of curious. Knight e4, it actually almost forces the best move to be played because you're threatening to come in here, and like maybe even knight f6 would be kind of annoying
Yeah,
as well if you were to play
yeah, that's
d5.
a headache.
I like I don't know. Is this idea good or bad? The engine likes it because this pawn on f6 is either going to be the pawn that wins you the game, or it's going to be a weakness that could cost you the game. It feels like it would be either one of those, but it's certainly annoying.
Yeah, I'd feel tempted to just find a way to play c3 or something, or I don't know, something to where we could move that bishop. I guess we
Uh,
can now.
yeah, Flexi, this is round 1 of 5, and this tournament's over 3 days, so they're only playing one game tonight, and uh, they will play 2 games tomorrow, and then they will play 2 games on Sunday as well. So a
Yeah, so
nice leisurely pace. Not don't have to play 3 or more games in a day is always nice.
right, bottle cap. That's exactly what I'm thinking about. It's like if we can find a way to get that bishop connected with a pawn, like a pawn on f6 and bishop on e7 or something, yeah, that could be really annoying.
All right, here. So we have a couple of moves in General Zod's game. So Arya plays queen to e7. It connects the rooks. Potentially, maybe play a rook on d8, a rook on e8 if you're Arya. And we have queen to b3, played by Josh. Pretty logical. You have the options of maybe trying an a4, a5 idea. And I mean, we've got ideas maybe playing knight c5 as well. Our rooks are connected. So I, I really like what I really like white in this position.
Right. Yeah, and everything's just eventually it's going to be firing at b7 and c6. He's going to get to use his c pawn at some point, I think. So maybe not immediately, but I agree with you. Eventually, at some point, the queen side's going to start looking really weak.
And we see that Josh has almost a 20-minute time edge. And I mean, the one thing about this format is with the 30-second increment, none of these players should lose on time. But if you get low on time, it can cause you to make moves a little bit quicker than you want to make, and those moves could be game-losing moves. So the time can be a factor in these, especially when we get some of these larger gaps, like we're seeing Chuck fall a bit behind on the clock here, and a lot of simplification going on uh, here. We've actually missed a few moves. This seems to be the fastest pace game. So we've got a bishop d2 played, and okay. So we went ahead and just went pure simplification here. Wow. Knight takes e4 apparently fails tactically to knight d5. Um, but it looks
Really?
like Yeah,
Oh, yeah, the
we're
attack on the
hitting
rook.
here. We're hitting here.
Oh,
This
and the
is
check.
this is not what Ryan played. So it looks like a tactical shot, but Ryan missed. Which
That's tough. That's a hard one to find, I think. But I mean, or maybe I don't
it
know. What do you guys think about that?
it is a difficult move, but this is completely winning as well. So, um, yeah, that's the engine did not like this idea. So bishop takes. Oh wait, I messed up. Uh, so on knight takes, rook takes was played instead. Um, hmm, interesting. Then
Okay,
bishop
disconnecting
takes,
between.
rook e1. I'm kind of trying to understand why David went into this because to me, um,
Yeah, so he does take on G2. Yeah.
but Ryan comes right in here on e7, and yeah, this is a difficult spot for David. The engine's screaming, "You sack the exchange here." Uh,
Yeah. And I'm
easier,
just worried about all the dark squares around David's castle.
yeah. So the hypothetical line here is this, and now what do you do? Like the
Yeah.
number one engine move is bishop f1, which just gives up your bishop, which is never a good sign.
So yeah, I don't know.
Because
What do you think? Are we gonna have an early knockout here?
this is what Ryan wants to do, and there's not a logical way of messing with this. It's
Do you think?
interesting. After this, there's
Yeah.
only one move that wins, and that is f3. Huh.
Wow. Yeah, nice find, Igor. F3.
And yeah, hypothetically, of course, that's not going to come up on the board, but um, in- interesting for sure.
So yeah, do you think it might benefit David from a psychological perspective to just maybe burn a couple minutes and just like reset mentally? You know, you're down a pawn or whatever, and your position feels a
Well,
little strange.
it's Ryan's move right now. So we
Yeah.
were looking at the hypothetical exchange sack, which I am pretty certain that the first thing that Ryan is looking at in this position is the exchange sack, because I mean the idea of bishop h3 just has to be so tempting. But we have a move here, bishop to g5. This feels very logical by Ryan. He's saying that I have an advantage. I don't need to get crazy here. And I can respect that. So he is threatening queen to d8, which leads to an exchange of queens. And then he's going to say that I've got a rook. You do not have a rook. The ending is going to be good for me. And he's got this b pawn, which will just go up the board and win him the game. And I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, same.
So it's very awkward for David, who sacked an exchange for this attack, and queen d8 feels unstoppable. I guess you can try. Could you try king g7, or we're just getting? I mean, it's the exchange sack is even more powerful now because
I
you
was
can
just
take
that
here
you
with the
can still
check,
do
and
it.
then
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's not good. So That is that's the only way to avoid the queen trade. Because I mean, if you were to hypothetically do something crazy like this, I would assume that we would just get buried. Um, though, yeah, it wants to sack here, but yeah, this doesn't feel very good. I think this will probably be our first game done. Uh, it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
David has too much. I mean, I, you're almost resigning after the queens come off, anyways. I think realistically, you play this ending out a little bit further and try to prove that your bishops are something. But I gotta think the exchange is just gonna be too much here.
Right. But yeah, Ryan's showing his form, showing his class. Round one makes a lot of sense, especially with the white pieces.
All right, here. So we still have 94, and Chuck is in the tank for a long time in that game. Let's see here, and yeah, Arya is in the tank here. I'm trying to figure out a plan, and I understand that it's very difficult a position for. It's very difficult for Black in all three games. Um, we might have an open with the three whites coming in and being successful. All right, we have a decision here by Chuck. He went king to e7, which
All right. Connected his rooks, but
yeah. Well, the engine really was screaming to trade this bishop off because it's just so awkward. It's basically a pawn, and then you have the opportunity to trade yourself for a knight. And now Tom's arguably big mistake last move was allowing this bishop to trade for the knight. Now he's able to move this knight again.
true. Right. And he kind of just negates that earlier line we were talking about with the knight check. So yeah, back to the drawing board.
I want to play d5 so much, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, okay, the engine is going to yell at me, but I want to do this. And then, am I getting somewhere here? Oh, I guess you just moved the rook. Never mind. See, this is why they don't let me play chess. This is because I come up with
Oh
bad
yeah,
ideas.
the in between. Yeah.
Yeah, the in between move is annoying, and I don't even think that queen d6 check was accomplishing much. But these are the type of moves that I want to play. um, yeah, but it's something you have to consider because Chuck spent a lot of time. If you're doing a move like this, you actually have to calculate moves like knight c5, uh, and then sometimes they work. Then this position they don't work. What's f6 do in the engine? Well, it's White's move here. So like for instance, if we do this and then this, yeah, the engine is mad. It wants to do c4. I guess c4 c5 is
Yeah, I
very
feel
annoying.
inclined to start some stuff on the queen side here because yeah, his king, I don't know, his king's position feels a little suspicious once that starts to open up.
All right, he said knight f6 instead. Yeah, knight f6. It does give up a pawn potentially, but are we okay? I think we're okay giving up a pawn here.
Yeah, it
This is
does
completely
open up
fine.
lines for that bishop. Yeah.
This looks fine. Oddly enough, I think the king is safe on f6. It doesn't feel like it should be, but I think you can fianchetto yourself and then be fine. You can even like, I castled if you want. Let's see. Can we go over knight d6 in this position? I like knight d6 as an idea here. So knight d6 and it's completely playable. So we have obviously king d6. It's interesting. It wants to play d5. I want to play c4 here. What's wrong with c4 here? Yeah, it's reasonable.
Maybe does it just give him time to like retreat, maybe? Whereas like d5 just presses the issue immediately.
Yeah, it could be. If we're sacking a piece, we need to be accurate. So this, e takes d5, rook a d1. The problem is we're down a piece, so we have to prove. But like we're down a piece and the engine says it's almost even. So this is actually completely playable for white. Do we have YouTube or Twitch channels where I play chess? I don't. This is my first stream in over a year. I have a Twitch channel, but it's dormant. We're in hibernation.
Oh, welcome, Parker. Welcome. Good to see you, man.
So
Yeah, the king is in the middle of the screen, right?
people asking about the TikTok, the time. So on this screen, we do have the time. We can't move pieces around on this screen and do analysis though. But as you can see here, Tom is up a good bit of time on the clock. And here we've got Josh, General Zod, taking on Arya. And he is up 32 minutes on the clock, which this is starting to become a very substantial advantage on the clock.
Yeah. So what do you do in these kinds of situations when you're up, 30, 40 minutes on your opponent? Are you willing to chill and like give some of that time back, or do you want to press as many advantages as you can? Do you want to move
Yeah,
quickly
yeah.
and
Usually
basically
when my opponents get into time trouble, I move very quickly, and then I end up making the blunder in their time trouble. So
yeah,
that's
right?
that's that's what you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to take your time. That's the smart thing. But I'm not going to claim that I do all the smart thing every time. If I did the
Oh
smart
yeah.
thing every time, then I wouldn't be, 19 something right now. I would be
Right.
higher. And I would be in
Well,
this tournament.
right. But the more problems you ultimately throw at your opponent, the more, that 42 minutes turns into 30 minutes, turns into 20 minutes, and all of a sudden you're playing a blitz game out of nowhere.
So
But
we
yeah,
have,
32 minutes is huge.
it
Yeah,
feels
okay.
like the wrong knight played to g3 by Tom. So he still allows this bishop to trade off here if it would like. I think Tom has just decided that he's happy if he wants to trade here. And then he's like, I'm going to replace my knight on this annoying square. Because e4 is a very annoying square for a knight.
Yeah, and you can't really displace it with d5 or the e4 knight, that is.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were to go here, then this is just... This feels like it should be devastating. Um, the queen, can... I mean, you're at least have b7, right? That's hanging.
Yeah, at the very least.
So, yeah, I mean, the engine doesn't even want you to take here. The engine says this would be a blunder. Oh, because of take, and then this hangs.
Oh, yeah.
Or the
I
bishop
would walk right into
taken
that.
might have been more accurate. But yeah, this would be about even. So there are still ways to blunder this very nice position. Um, but I don't think that Chuck is going to play d5 because it's just such an ugly looking move.
How's it going, Night Fork 99? Let me see here. I can post this link again. Sorry, guys. I know I'm spamming this link every now and then, but we've got a lot of new people coming in, just checking out the games.
Yeah, everyone who is new to the stream, welcome. Obviously, I'm not General Zod. I have not had some major one-day body transformation. But General Zod is playing in this tournament here. Josh Alexander here, he's got the white pieces against Arya. That is one of our 3 games we have going. We've got National Master Tom Bromlich taking on Chuck Unruh, and we have Ryan Ambergy trying to put the finishing touches on David Lipscomb. In the chess.com analysis boards, I put the ratings next to the players if you're very curious about that. And we have the DGT set up here. And it looks like we have moves being played here. Bishop takes h3, so he gets a pawn. As I expected, Ryan wants to simplify this ending. He's like, I'm winning. Let's get queens off of the board. I've got an exchange. I've got this b pawn, which is going to be a problem. And I don't really see a great way for David to ask too many questions in this position. So it's very difficult.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think those pawns are just going to march.
And we already see a very quick h5 being played by David. I think that a lot of times you get in this situation when you're David, when you know you're just kind of lost, you just start moving fast and then just hope something happens. Maybe you provoke your opponent to move fast and blunder. David's plan here is somewhat kind of simple here. He wants to get this bishop out of the way and maybe get these 2 pawns up the board. And these bishops do support this pawn push. So Ryan does have to worry about this somewhat. That being said, I think b4 immediately is certainly an idea. Because this pawn is going to be fast, and there's going to be multiple bishop and pawn moves to get this train going for David. The name of the tournament is the Rozsa Trophy Open, the 4th annual Rozsa Invitational. So this is an invitational inviting the top, or 6 of the top players from Oklahoma into an invitational round robin. So it's a 5-round round robin where every player will play the other player once. And yeah, it is a very exciting tournament where we have a lot of good matchups because there are no easy rounds in this tournament.
Right. And they all provide good contrasts to each other as well. It's a nice mismatch of opening styles and middle game styles and that kind of thing. So I think the whole weekend it's going to be good chess.
So we have a couple of moves in General Zod's game. We've got knight to c8, and then we were talking about what do you do with a big time edge. Well, General Zod is like, I'm going to waste no time on the clock and immediately blitz out the #1 computer move. That's optimal strategy, right?
Right. Yeah, and Zod, he's just in my games with him, he's always the kind of guy is that if he's up on, he's going to use the clock as a weapon. So as you all know, he plays extremely fast. So I think he's going to try to press this time advantage and see if he can fluster Arya. But yeah, and Arya K says, it's being this much lower on time is not like Arya. Usually, he's usually the one that's up on time.
I think Arya just has a very difficult position to come up with a plan. We see him play this knight b6 to c8, and it's kind of unclear what his goal is. You're probably going to go to d6, and then maybe to f5 or something. Of which you do all of that, and then General Zod moves his bishop back, and what have you accomplished? So. Yeah, I agree, Parker. It is Arya's position isn't lost, but it's so hard to play. It's so hard to come up with ideas. Eventually you're gonna put these rooks somewhere. It's also kind of difficult for Josh to prove an advantage as well, because materially we're even,
but yeah,
Arya kind of has a little bit of a solid position. I do like ideas of coming into knight c5 and starting to attack over here a little bit, though.
Right. And at some point, one of them is going to have to be vulnerable, though. Do something. Because I think at this point, Josh would be unhappy to go away with a draw, given how just the opening is gone.
Yeah, I would agree. And also, psychologically, being 100 points higher rated than your opponent and have the white pieces, you want to capitalize and get a full point out of that because this tournament doesn't have very many opportunities, but this is probably going to be one of the best opportunities in this tournament for Josh to,
Yeah.
you know, get a win. I mean, every round's difficult for everyone, but I think that this would be a situation that he would want to capitalize on. But yeah, neither player really needs to be in a rush because I don't think there's immediate threats. I do think that Parker has a good idea in the chat, C4 and D5. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. I mean, Rookie 1 kind of prepares that somewhat. Um, let's see here. All right, we've got some moves in this game.
Okay.
So H4 asked him the question to this knight, and he didn't want to move it back to E2 because he just moved it from there, so he goes ahead and exchanges it here. And a little bit of an awkward pawn structure here for Chuck, but the nice thing about having this pawn on F5 is this annoying knight does get kicked. So I'm curious about like that now. The engine does not hate it.
Hey, Side Pocket, how's it going? The General is currently playing, actually. So we're just doing some backup commentary for him. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, this feels like a fun idea for Tom. I hope he finds that. Because if he doesn't, then I think just retreating is going to be very awkward. And king here. It's very interesting because this got this open file for the rook for a potential counterattack. This game could easily get very dynamic very quickly. So, yeah, something to keep an eye out on. How much time is left for the players? Nobody's in time pressure at the moment here. We've got a good edge there for Ryan. This game probably doesn't have too much juice left in it. We have Tom has played. Knight F6 is on the board, so he has played the move that I wanted him to play, and the engine wanted him to play. This does sacrifice a pawn. It opens up the G file. It's going to make this game very dynamic.
Wait, forgive my interruption here. Blitzed Zed posted a link in the chat to Lee Chess that I actually think solves all the problems as far as being able to monitor the games in real time. Yeah, I've played Zod over the board a handful of times now, and even though I can't say that I've been successful, the games have been really interesting, really close. He's a great blitz player, and of course, really friendly guy, really knowledgeable about chess. So I know at some point he's definitely going to hit the National Master title. It's just a matter of when.
That is helpful. It is much more helpful than what I'm doing here with all of this.
Yeah, so yeah, appreciate that. Shout out Blitz Zed
I'm
in the
gonna
chat.
copy this and then let's see here. I'll move this over here. There.
I always get decent positions against him and then just make some silly blunder in the middle game or something, and then he just slowly wins. But he often plays odd openings, as you all probably know.
So we've got our three windows open here. We have a move from David Lupscomb here. It looks like we've had a few moves being played in this game. B4 again. Ryan going with my plan. Just all right. Let's go ahead and just move that pawn up the board. F6 to try to prepare G5 and get his pawns going. But Ryan is like, your plan's too slow. I agree with him. And now David is having to do this defensive move. I think in this position, rook to b1 feels very effective. So we can play rook b1, and I think that black wanted to. I'll go ahead and say why. If we just push here, then he's got this, and we're stopping this, and you kind of get in front there, and you're just completely, maybe not completely fine, but it's harder for white to make progress here. Um, that being said, I think this is completely winning as well, because you can do this. It's slightly slower, but it should be good enough.
Yeah.
So, Dormore, these ratings are not the USCF ratings of these players. Um, whatever Lee Chest has here, this is, I'm guessing FIDE. Um, yeah, because 23 something. Yeah, these are not the USCF ratings. Uh, yeah, I had the USCF ratings on the chess.com boards, but um, yeah, these aren't it. Because David Ludscombe, he is like 2150. Uh, Chuck is over 2000. Tom is 2200. Ryan's over 2400. USCF, and of course Josh Alexander is like 2158, and Arya is over 2000 as well. So all these players are above 2000. If you look at king placement, white is more prepared to stop the pawns. Yeah, for sure. I think rook b1 is very natural. Yeah, there you go. Ryan plays rook b1. And this is very awkward because I think David has to play bishop c8 now just to not get completely steamrolled. Because if you don't play that, then b6, b7, b8 queen seems kind of unstoppable.
Yeah, I honestly, I think it's just a matter of time, and Ryan knows what to do here. So,
Yeah, I'm not playing in the
as
Spring Open next week. Unfortunately, I have prior commitments. Um, but I will be playing in the Route 66 Open in 3 weeks. That's being held here in Tulsa.
Oh, okay, nice.
So yeah, bishop c8 is the move here if we turn on the engine. Happy to see Tom come in here with this knight f6 idea. It's very strong.
Dub Duck, I don't think we have a chess.com link for this one. I mean, other than what he was working on a little while
Yeah,
ago.
I had manual analysis boards up, and I set it up manually and was making the moves manually. But there's not anything like this on chess.com. I don't think.
Oh, wow. Okay, Arya's down to 22 minutes. To Josh's or Zod's 1 hour and 9 minutes. Hmm.
Yeah, we had a couple of moves being played here. We had a5 being played by Arya, and then Josh spent literally no time, and then blitz out the number one computer move. It's very annoying when he's not only ahead on the clock, but all of his moves are very accurate.
Right.
So that's a 47-minute time advantage for Josh, General Zod here, and that's tough. And we see here that Tom also has a very substantial time advantage over Chuck as well.
Yeah, and I agree, Grego. You can be solid, but you can only be solid for so long when you're under time pressure. So he's not quite there yet, but the chance of making a mistake is starting to increase. Uh, And what do you think? Is he still just going to go for like knight c5 or something just to maybe provoke it? But I mean, I know right now black has to make a move, but
Yeah. I mean, if I'm black, I'm instinctually wanting to play something like this, but the engine might disagree with me. But yeah, I like knight c5 ideas. Threatening bishop takes knight and then taking here on b7. Which honestly is probably a mistake because of the rook coming this way. The nice thing that white has here is they can just sit forever, and black can't generate threats. So white can be patient. They don't have to commit to this, crazy idea here either.
right, right. And yeah, and I agree with Parker almost approaching it like from a Steinitzian standpoint, like with space, the bishop pair, all that stuff. Yeah, it's the little advantages are starting to amass. But we'll see. Computer still says it's only +1. And I think we calculated earlier, right? If Josh goes 5 out of 5, or if Zod goes undefeated in this tournament, he could potentially gain the 40 some odd points he needs to hit National Master. But I think that's
That
that's
would be
going to be a
very,
tough ask.
it would be very
Yeah, in a
difficult to
tournament.
achieve. Uh,
Right.
let's see here. I can do like a rating calculator thing in the background to figure out what he needs to get in this tournament because he's at the he starts at 2158, so he would need 42 points. The nice thing about having Ryan in this tournament is if you're able to, beat him, that's going to be quite a big win. But the bad thing is that he's very hard to beat. So it goes
Oh,
both
right.
ways.
Yeah, he's extremely resilient, even when he's in kind of awkward. Man, I played a simul against Ryan fairly recently. He defeated all of us, and again, another interesting game. But if you give him one or two moves, he turns an equal position into a winning position for him. So it's tough.
Let's see here. All right, I've got this up. We'll come up with his opponents. We'll see here. First five. And then I think 4.5 points will be enough for him. But I could be wrong. Let's see, 2200, 2006. And of course, this is just a complete guesstimation. $55. So, all right, if he got, okay, this is actually not helping. I don't know. I'm on the wrong side. Oh well. But I think 5 out of 5 would get him master. I'm probably safer than David Lupscomb, but it's going to be hard to get 5 out of 5 when you're about to be 0 out of 1.
Right.
So rook b1, we have. So rook b1, h4, and then he's just like b6. I'm going to completely ignore whatever you're doing. So I think the question is there a way to get this pawn up the board quick enough? So if we do this, can we queen? So black wins.
Ooh, black wins with the promotion.
So you have to be somewhat careful here for Ryan. We found a way
Yeah.
to lose.
Yeah, right.
This line is not forced by any means, though.
Right.
That's the unfortunate
David's
thing.
resourceful though.
Yeah, this is what David's going for. When he plays h4 into b6, he's hoping to play for this, and he might have calculated this out. It's the only thing he has to play for in this position. If you're not playing for this, you're just resigning. So I think you have to go for it. And after bishop c6, Jeez. So here, h3. I'm trying to figure it out. You've got f4. That's the key move.
Oh,
And now after takes, you can queen. And the nice thing here is your rook now guards the h1 square. So there's no shenanigans there. So
Okay,
f4 to free up the king is the key move.
yeah, okay, that's really nice. It's kind of a tricky thing to spot, but he's definitely the play of the caliber of player that could find that. But
I mean, I think with an hour on his clock, there's no way that he's going to allow h2 h1 queen with check. He's not going to want to calculate that.
yeah,
I think that he'll probably find f4, or he will play something like king f1, king e2 here, which I think he has time for.
all right, and so it
I don't,
begins.
I don't know what the live position is. Okay. Ah. So yeah, we have b7 on the board. One square from queening. So the only move for David Lovescombe here is bishop c6. And I think the only move for Ryan in this position is f4 or maybe f3. I think either of those work. But it's kind of interesting that he has to move the f pawn here, because if he queens, he loses, which is, I mean, hard to find the mate in 9 there, but be very interesting.
Right.
But the good news for David here is I think that his best attempt is pretty much the only thing you can even consider here if you're just trying to come back, because there's no future in playing d5 and giving up your bishop for the pawn. That's just the same as resigning. So you have to go for this if you're David. All right. We have a move in the Arya Josh game. So rook to a6 is, I mean, he's basically, he's got that little red cape in front of the bull, just begging for us to play knight c5. I'm almost surprised that Josh didn't just blitz that out, because, I mean, maybe there's an idea of rook b6 here, but I mean, you're getting very close to getting that rook trapped.
Yeah, it feels really uncomfortable to do that, but
I'm not Zod, but this is Zod here, Josh Alexander playing here, and he plays rook to e2. He's saying that I'm not taking the bait, I'm going to be patient, get ready to double my rooks on the e file, and then maybe do that c4 d5 idea. The rook b6 doesn't actually threaten anything. I mean, you threaten the queen, and then the queen moves, and then what? So,
and I think any attempt to sort of tear down the queen side, White's queen side it's just really not that effective anymore. Yeah, this is tough. I do not envy Arya's. Yeah.
So yeah, we've seen a couple of moves be played in this game. We see the bishop to c6, as expected. Actually, wait, no. We saw b7, h2. Okay, he played h2 first. This is actually, I think, a worse attempt by David because it
Yeah.
forces King G2, and then after you do this, he has to play F3. So you kind of David on accident kind of forced um, Ryan into playing the best moves.
Yeah. So
Now
what's
you
he gonna do here?
like make a
Move, I
queen,
guess.
you take here,
Yeah.
and then you've got nothing. I mean, you can
Yep.
check, but that's not going to get you anywhere. Check and then what? You resign because you have to give up the bishop for the pawn, and now you're just down a rook. Um, and there's no hope in this for David. So it looks like Ryan will likely be the first one to emerge victorious. Let's see here. Go ahead and check this game out. So we saw knight f3 be played in this position a long time ago, and okay, we saw Chuck went into a deep think, and now he's played knight d7. I like this idea by Chuck. Without looking at the engine, I could be completely missing a knockout blow. I do think of ideas like c4 feel very strong for Tom here.
Yeah, probably at the end. I'm sure that game might conclude relatively soon, and once it's over, we can maybe quickly recap it.
Yeah, that's definitely an idea. We can do that once these games go final. Um, we also have in the links that um, Jake has been posting in the chat the links to the live boards, and you can go back to the beginning of the game here, like
Yeah,
completely back
true.
to the
Here,
beginning here, or this lead chess link as well, which is coming in very handy. So black being patient, saying that your knight on f6 looks scary, but it's actually not very functional. No Zod cam. Yeah, I don't think that they have cameras in the playing hall, like on the players. I know some live events have that, but all we have is the boards from the event. We have a couple of moves here. So rook b6 to attack the queen. It's interesting that Zod went to a2. For me, I think c2 would have been more instinctual. Um, yeah, I don't understand that. He wants to keep the queen on this diagonal, maybe to support. We can support c4 on c2, so I'm confused. Yeah, I don't understand a2 either. Queen c2 just felt so natural. I mean, it's not bad. This position's not bad, but it's just very weird.
Yeah, that knight's both knights are kind of glued down to protecting his queen.
I think that
Yeah, that knight's got to stay on
Dahmer
c8.
in chat or yeah. So like this idea. Of course, he can still play this. Like this knight's guarding it. This knight's guarding it. So it's not even really a threat. So I don't know. Queen to a6 doesn't feel like a good idea either. You can play bishop takes knight. Oh, okay. So this idea potentially, okay. So like if we went here, we have this tactic. That's what the chat's saying, and that is effective. That wins a pawn.
Right.
So okay, there is an idea behind queen to a2 is to prevent knight to d6. It's actually a very good idea. Yeah, can double the rooks here as well. It's also just such a hard position for black to play. I mean, if you can't play knight d6 here, it's like the most natural move. I mean, maybe you're doing. Are we doing like a rookie 8 type of deal at some point? I'm really struggling here uh, for black to come up with an idea. I've gotten tons of text messages from people in the tournament who have probably said important things to me, and I've completely ignored them.
Yeah, no worries. I'm doing the same.
All right, we have our first final result here. We have Ryan Ambergy winning because David has resigned after the move f3. It's a
All
very
right.
logical
Congratulations to Ryan.
resignation because you have to give up the bishop for the pawn, and there's no follow-up here for David. So we'll go ahead and run through this game very quickly. This was, at first we thought this was actually General Zod's game against Arya because they had that little glitch in the beginning, but they fixed that glitch. So we got e4, c5, knight f3, got the Sicilian going here, and I've played David in one of these fairly recently, and it went. I messed up the theory and then ended up winning the game. So the lesson here is mess up the theory, right? The early b5 I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, this is a real line. I just forget what it's called. It's an older one. Some sub-variation of the Najdorf. Oh, yeah. Chris is
Okay.
wondering if Ryan can join the chat.
Yeah, that's fine. We can wait
That'd
to
be
go
great.
over the game when he's here, and it can make a lot more
Yeah.
logical sense than me not knowing theory. I just thought b5 was early. All right, looks like Arya has moved in Josh's game, and we see here rook to e8. That was one of the ideas I had because I didn't have any ideas. It's kind of the type of move, the autopilot developing move that you make when you don't have a plan.
Yeah,
Which isn't
but at this
a
point,
great sign.
he's just
But
yeah, he's just trying to tread water with under 15 minutes. He's basically playing a rapid game.
yeah, Josh has over an hour, and he does the very natural. I'm going to double my rooks.
Yeah. Oof.
And this is, I mean, I'm thinking about ideas of maybe c4, d5 at some point here, just opening everything up.
Yeah.
And that has to be, it feels like it has to be good. Why aren't I on TikTok? I don't know how to stream on TikTok. I'm too old. They won't let me.
Yeah.
I don't have any of the TikToky dances. Or whatever you need to get on that platform. Doesn't he have to reinforce the threat of bishop takes d5, c takes d5, queen d5? Well, with the knight on the square, it's not as important though. But yeah, if you want to play knight here, I think that line still works. So like if you were to do this, then this just has to be good, right? Yeah, this is just
I mean, yeah,
completely
looks
winning.
good to me.
So what does... I mean, it's not a good sign. I just turned on the engine in the current position, and the best move is queen to d8, and the engine says it's plus 1.5. It's just not what you want to see. This is not what you want to see at all. At queen d8, I can't tell you why you play queen d8. Uh, yeah, that's ugly. I think the engine got tired of coming up with a plan for Arya. That is just like queen d8. The engine's like, I don't want to come up with a move. That is such an
Yeah, just
ugly
do
move to
something.
play. They're like, I'm gonna just say a legal move, and then maybe they'll stop asking me what to do. Yeah, probably to get out of this pin. But I mean, it's still a pin. You've got two rooks on this one rook, so I guess the idea here is regarding the queen is guarding both this and kind of this as well. So we can't just take on everything on the square. Yeah, if you do queen d7, we've got the knight c5 ideas, which is unideal for sure. Like, yeah, Arya did this creative maneuver to get this rook on b6, but what are we doing here? Wow, Arya finds the number one computer move.
All right.
The little engine that could. I don't know. Queen
Yeah,
d8.
he's good with it. Yeah, I agree. I think after the fact, he's gonna maybe regret putting this rook on b6, but it's always tough in the moment.
Of course, as ridiculous as queen d8 looks, the engine's like bishop h2. So I just don't understand chess.
Yeah.
Um, Jake, could you
Here, I
link
can.
the the
Yeah,
chess
doing
into the
that
chat?
now. Here we go. Let's see
And
here.
this is nice because we can get to all three games pretty easily here. So it looks like General Zod's in a good position to uh, play this out. I think this would probably be the maybe the longest game. I don't know. There's still a lot to decide here in this Tom versus Chuck game. There's been a few moves being played in this position. So we had knight d7 here, threatening here. Knight h5, moving this knight off of that nice f6 square into the corner. The engine was kind of okay with that though. Going to go ahead and defend this bishop, and he wants to trade off and truly have the two bishops. He's got two bishops versus two knights right now. And king to h1.
Interesting. All right. So what is the purpose of king h1?
You want to get off this file. For instance,
Oh yeah, get out
black
of the way,
could
the
play
rook.
f6, and that was, I guess, somewhat awkward. So the engine wants to play queen a5 to ask for the queen trade. And the nice thing about queen a5 is, I mean, Tom's not going to trade queens. And then after he does, like, I don't know, queen c1 or something, you can play queen c7 or get this queen in a better spot than it's at. So yeah, king h1 is a very nice prophylactic move, I think, because it does prevent f6. And you just don't like being on this file with the rook here. It's just not pleasant. I think for Chuck, it's just so natural to play a move like rook g8 here, though. Just double. I'm not sure you're really accomplishing anything, but it's just a nice autopilot move.
Yeah, and yeah, he's also approaching, I mean, at least just comparatively to Tom, yeah, approaching some potential time pressure.
Yeah, 22 minutes on the clock versus 50. It's not as bad as the situation that Arya's got going here. As we see on this clock, we've got 10 minutes versus an hour. And oh boy, it looks like Arya has unfortunately blundered a tactic.
Oh, that 96.
Yeah, knight takes e6. And the idea being that after you take here, you're threatening bishop takes knight, and that's going to be pretty chaotic, I believe. We're actually threatening.
Oh yeah, this is terrible because once that c6 pawn moves, his oh well, actually never mind. His rook is protected by the queen.
This isn't as clear of a knockout as I thought. The engine immediately jumped, but after king h7, you're playing bishop h4 and you're getting more pressure that way. So it's kind of like a long-term idea here.
Yes, Bleary, welcome to the chat. Yeah, Josh is Zod.
But if Josh is able to find this, then it appears even though the engine jumps up, it's not completely obvious to me. But it has to be tempting here. And I think that General Zod will spend a good amount of time here and be able to analyze this. I mean, you could almost go with the rook first here, right? Okay, apparently you can't. Apparently this isn't good. Apparently going down a rook is bad. All right, I'll stop suggesting ideas here. But yeah, the knight sack.
Oh, okay, so
Okay, what's the life position? I think okay, we're at the life position. Yeah, I expect General Zod to take a good amount of time here. Yeah, I think this is a tough sack to find onto the board because it's not a complete immediate knockout. We saw that it doesn't win material immediately, but just the effect of this pin long term is worth a knight, and you get 2 pawns immediately as well.
yeah, that's nice. Okay. Man.
Yeah, he should. This is a good position to use your big time advantage, for sure.
Yeah, and welcome M. Lewis. Yeah, this is round 1. We're probably what, 2 hours into the stream? Yeah, a little over, 2 hours.
Yeah, we have our first winner of the day, Ryan Ambergy, beating David Luscombe, getting the first point of the Rosa. And he may be online here shortly. We can go ahead and look at that game when he does. And we have 2 action-packed games here. I really liked what Tom did with this maneuver here. He had the quiet king h1 that was played, and now we have queen to b6. So we're trying to see Chuck get this queen back into the game, which has been kind of offsides the entire game. And Tom plays a very logical rook centralizing move, lining his rook up with Chuck's king.
All right. And Lash Prince. So yeah, there is a big time difference, but the only time you can regain is a 30-second increment.
Yeah.
We're not playing with like bonus time in after move 40 or something.
Yeah, the good news is none of these players should lose on time with the 30-second increment. The bad news is if you're playing off of the increment in a complicating position, it can be very difficult to find the best moves in 30 seconds. That being said, I have won multiple games in 30-second increment. So there is that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
On time. People forget about their time and then the clock runs out.
Yeah, I've had multiple flags in classical, which is always a surprise, but your heart is racing, when they don't realize it.
Most of mine happen when I'm up a piece and they're frustrated And then the clock goes out, and they kind of shrug, and they're like, "I was considering resigning anyways."
Yeah.
This is not a FIDE rated tournament. This is USCF only. So we see here Chuck play f4, giving up a pawn. The engine hates that move. And Tom's like, okay, I'll take the free pawn. I don't understand this this f4 move in this position here. Chuck plays f4. What's he attempting to accomplish?
Yeah, that feels really suspicious. Is that right? I mean, feels like a typo.
The oh, okay. So the idea is that he hits here. He wanted to deflect this bishop to take this pawn, and this okay. This makes more sense. Like I almost suggested this, which fails to this and this. That would be bad, but this bishop idea is an idea that happens in some positions. So yeah, he gets the d pawn out of this. Nice in between move. Bishop takes d5 is an option. We'll see if Tom finds that. By the way, we're not missing anything in Zod's game. All right, he's gone king h7.
Just moved.
Wait, we had the knight sack. He did sack the knight. So this position, okay. I need to get used to Lee chess. I'm not used to it. But he did sack the knight in this position, which was what the engine screamed to do. So great job by Josh to find this. General Zod is very sharp to find this move. And he gets the two pawns. This pin is absolutely a big problem. And now we see Arya find the best computer move, but this position is difficult.
Do something with like queen b1 or something. Yeah, everybody get hype.
Queen a3, bishop h4. Bishop.
Yeah, bishop h4 E4 looks strong.
Yes, this is very good for General Zod. I think that finding knight e6 was a very, very good move. That was, even though the engine was screaming it immediately after knight e7 was played, I feel like that was a very difficult move to find.
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah.
He found it,
yeah,
and I think that this advantage just feels like it should be decisive.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, Black's forces are just divided into that rook on b6 just feels, I don't know. He's just on an island. Yeah, queen a2, yeah, right? We were naysayers of queen a2, but here we are. It turns out to be super strong.
Yeah, also, the ideas behind queen a2, like, when he played it, I'm like, that felt so unnatural. Like, why wouldn't you go to c2? c2 was kind of the natural autopilot move, but queen a2 showed that Josh had an understanding of some of the key concepts of the position, which is nice to have when I'm just sitting here making autopilot moves.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not quite related to General Zod. I know it looks like I am, but I'm not quite. Maybe some distant, very distant, very, very distant line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like with the queen on b1, could you like take on h5? Because the queen on b1 would create a pin.
Yeah. So if you do this, you're threatening this.
Oh, wait, I'm wrong. Why am I wrong? Oh, his knight just comes back.
His knight comes back.
Never mind.
You still have ideas here, but this is kind of a key type of position though for General Zod. is, I mean, we have the luxury of the evaluation bar. The players playing this game don't have this. And the thing is
Right.
Josh gave up an entire piece, and now he's got to prove a piece for 2 pawns, but now he's got to prove that that piece stack was worth it. And that's not as clear as the engine is saying it is. The engine is like, I win this in my sleep. Humans is a lot more difficult here. You still have to find some good moves to finish this off. But I do like the general ideas of bishop h4, and then follow that up with queen a3, and just put pressure on this knight. And I think that you can put more pieces on this knight than he can defend. And then if you win this knight, you just win the game because you just have all the extra pawns. Yeah, this game is live, so we have been covering it from the start. If you click on that link from that Jake just linked in the chat, the lead chess, you can start the game from the beginning yourself and go through the entire thing for all the games.
Yeah. And we appreciate everybody who's maybe stopping by for the first time. Feel free to follow General Zod's channel, because we're going to be hopefully getting as many games in, reviewing these all weekend long. So, oh, hey, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan's here finally.
Hey guys, congrats Ryan on your big win. Very super solid game from you. You pretty much dominated from the start to the finish. I know over the board it was maybe slightly more stressful than it looked like when we had the luxury of the engines, but we'll go through here this game pretty quickly here. We have a Sicilian here being played by David. I like the fighting spirit of trying to come out as the underdog and play a 3-result game. And Najdorf type of thing. The early b5, which did catch me by surprise, but apparently this is a book line. And then we have a4, and it feels like the natural move here is supposed to be b4 here by David. It was the first move that came into my mind. Is b takes a4 kind of like a novelty? Was this something that you were expecting or played before? Because I thought that was an interesting take there when David took here. Thought that was very unnatural, because just b4 just felt very natural to play.
Yeah.
But b takes a4 is something you have looked at before but didn't remember well. Okay. So, I mean, David coming out here with a little bit of a slight novelty that was probably trying to get Ryan out of book, which is probably pretty smart. And
Yeah, makes sense.
because I mean they've played each other many times, and when you have the repeated matchups, you need to have novelties at some point. So we have nice development move here, super solid. G6, castles, bishop G7, queen E2, castles. This all feels pretty natural to me. Rook D1. And yeah, this... I wonder if the knight should have maybe come out to D7 instead of just allowing this to trade off. Because when he does this, he just gives up the pawn. And it's basically a bishop C4 Najdorf, except black can't play his normal B5 idea. Yeah. You thought he should have played queen C7 instead of knight C6. And knight C6 surprised me because of, well, exactly what you played in the game. You're just going to be like, okay, I'm going to take the pawn. And then, all right, you got to prove that giving up the pawn was worth giving up the pawn. And I feel like that your idea here is very logical. Yeah, I do think that queen C7 in this position does make more sense, or knight D7.
Oh, just as a quick update, Zod did find bishop h4 in the game against Arya, and Arya is under 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult for Arya there. So we go ahead, win a pawn here, which is great. Retreat the bishop, very logical here. I do like what David's attempting to do here, get counterplay on the queen side. But unfortunately for him, Ryan's position is very solid. Ryan had an idea here. All right, yeah, on this, can you take here? I wonder what happens here. Takes. Oh, you got the knight c5 intermezzo, which is very interesting. This line
Oh yes.
would have been very chaotic if it happened over the board.
Flatten out. Yeah.
And apparently it's equal.
Wow, what a mess.
So that would have actually kind of worked out for David, though this would have been somewhat chaotic. And yeah, this would have worked out a lot better for David than what happened in the game. Yeah, the doubled C pawns there just didn't feel good there. All right, here, yeah, we go ahead. We win a pawn here, and it just doesn't feel like black has compensation for the pawn. Bishop d2. It's never a good sign when you play bishop d2 and the engine's like, go back to b8. It's a very hard move to make as a human. I feel like that knight e4 was. It's just hard for black to come up with an idea here. I mean, maybe you try some knight maneuver. Yeah. But you do have to worry with this knight moves. You're always hitting the rook, so you got to worry about this idea here. So that's why I think the engine wants to go all the way back, which is just kind of cringe. Yeah, he plays knight d7. You always have knight d5. Yeah, knight d5 with this rook here is just a very big problem. Yeah, that is very ugly. And I feel like that knight takes e4 might have been a tactical oversight by David, because the resulting exchanges are it just doesn't feel great. I mean, maybe he thought that this attack was going to be something, but just not much here. I mean, if you want to play bishop takes h3, but you got to worry about the queen trade, of course. And here, super solid, bishop g5, great move. It was interesting with the chess.com engines. We were looking at this line here, and the idea of f3 was just won the game. I thought that exchange sack was very interesting, but obviously with a winning position on the board, that's a hard sack to play.
Yeah, especially with you've gone this far, it's always hard to make that kind of a commitment. But I think he's
So I mean, I think what he played was more practical. So this is a lot more practical. Then this ending is somewhat difficult. I do think that David, had a little bit of a cute idea near the end of the game here. B6, H3, B7, and I thought David did the wrong move order here. Instead of playing H2, he should have played Bishop C6 first. Not that it would have changed the outcome of the game, because I'm pretty sure Ryan would have seen this. But the trap is, if you queen the pawn, you lose the game. And I thought that trap was very, very cool. Apparently this is just mate, but there's no way Ryan would have allowed this. I just
Yeah.
feel like that was a better thing to do. The problem with playing h2 first is he forces Ryan to play king g2, and then like f3 is forced, and then you just resign. Yeah, he was one move too slow. But yeah, great game, Ryan. Nice start to the tournament. There's no easy rounds in this event, so it's nice to start off with a win. So congratulations, and let's go ahead and go back to General Zod's game because I feel like there's been a lot of spice happen in this game. So we had, I think we last left off here with this King h7 move, and we were hoping that General Zod would find Bishop h4. He found Bishop h4, and Bishop f8 was played. It was kind of the most logical move, putting more pieces on this square. And General Zod plays queen to b1. It's one of the ideas in this position.
Oh, nice. All right, he went for it. Yeah, good luck in the next round tomorrow, Ryan.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, all right, it's a lot to solve. 4 minutes.
Yeah, this is not the position you want to be in 4 minutes. Your opponent just sacked a piece. They have tons of pressure. There's tons of tactics that you need to calculate in this position, and it's a very difficult puzzle to solve. And as we can see by the eval bar, there are no correct solutions, and those positions are even harder to play when there's no right answer. Yes, Zod sacked a piece, and then instead of just immediately knocking him out of the game, he's kind of like a boa constrictor. He's putting all of Arya's pieces on the back rank. Arya can't really make any moves. It's just very uncomfortable for Arya here. And knight f4 is a difficult move to play. I don't see what it accomplishes. I think the knight feels pretty good on d5. But then again, it's this rook on b6 that I want to find something to do with. But you just don't have time. Like you can play like I don't know, rook a6. It's difficult. I don't know. Can we get that rook involved in the game at all? And as Jake mentioned earlier, we are threatening bishop takes h5 because of this. 2 minutes on the ticker, and that's not pleasant for Arya. He's got to find a move here very quickly.
Yeah, I agree, Zoomjaw. Yeah, the rook is basically not, it's on the board, but it's not really playing. So, like, you know, this is I think a sack that makes a lot of sense.
Stay here for a little bit because it feels like Arya has to make a move here very soon or his time runs out. It's just a hard position because you don't have any good moves. Do you ever think of the idea of, does like c5 do anything? Or does it just lose instantly? It feels like it loses instantly. Oh, yeah, bishop takes knight, and then the queen is overloaded. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Zod is 2158. This is FIDE rating. So these aren't the USCF ratings. These are FIDE ratings being displayed here by Lichess. So most people have lower FIDE ratings than they have USCF ratings. Knight takes h3 might complicate matters a bit. So let's see this here. Looks like, yeah, wants to play queen here and then maybe come in here. That makes sense. Okay, the clock is showing 5 minutes now. Back to live move. Okay, so we have on the board knight c7 played, and oh, this is brutal. Bishop takes knight, just instantly wins the game. Because if you take with the, well, any piece, but if you take here, and that leads to mate.
So to answer your question, Night Fork, it's 2,200 to hit National Master in the United States, which I believe is a title that really only exists in like North America.
Parker, there are no more games after tonight's games until tomorrow morning. So they play 2 games tomorrow, and they play 2 games on Sunday, a 5-round tournament. Knight c7. And Josh finds the best move. This is arguably resignable for Arya. The engine wants you to play knight takes rook, which gives up your queen. And that's never a fun move to play.
Yeah, practically this is lost.
So 0 minutes on the clock. Yep. We have a game that ended on time. It could have ended by
Really?
resignation. But here it's showing it ended on time. So, of course, General Zod playing classical chess, going for the dirty flags, is the is what the narrative will be, right? Clearly going for the flag, but he was completely won on the board as well. So, I'm sure that's going to excite chat a lot. He came through. He won round number 1. That's the best you can be after 1 round. So, great start for him to this tournament. We've only got 1 game remaining, but it is a very interesting one here. So we left off after bishop takes f4. We had queen takes to d4. Tom found the best move, taking here, which forces the queens to trade. Then we have rook c8 and c4, knight c5. All right, so this is the live position. Tom has a nice 24-minute time edge, and maybe more importantly than that, he's got an extra pawn. He's got 2 bishops. So, yeah, that was chat's pointing out, that was a great game played by Josh. He found knight takes e6 at a critical time. Not an easy move to find. He took full advantage of his opponent's mistakes and looked really sharp in that game.
You know, ZJ termination, that's not a bad idea, but I'm not sure if we have I don't know if Josh uses like Discord on his phone. But I guess I don't have his phone number actually, funny enough.
Yeah, he could yeah, if he wants to come in here, I mean, he could come into Twitch chat and just chat as himself. Yeah, if he's on right now, we could definitely go back into his game and go over it and get his thoughts on it. That would be great. He gets to stay general if he lost, definitely a demotion. Exactly, Igor. Does he get promoted though with the win though? That's the question. Maybe he gets promoted if he goes 5-0.
He might. The way he's playing like this.
Yeah, two-star general. We can
Field
have
Marshal Zod.
we can change this Twitch channel's name every single game based on what he did last round.
Commissar Zod, yeah.
Just hope we don't get in a losing streak. Josh is the new Sindarov. I mean, we don't have the candidates now, so this is all you have. So yeah, he got the win in round number 1. So that's what Sindarov would have done. When do we get to see Josh in the candidates? When he qualifies.
It's just got to become Louisiana state champion.
Yeah, that was all it took this year. I remember when Hikaru was doing his tour of those other FIDE rated tournaments, and we had our FIDE rated tournament, and there were some mumblings that maybe he would come to Oklahoma. He didn't, but
Right? Yeah.
we thought that it was a
someone thought
possibility because it was right in that time frame.
Right. To imagine.
He was too scared because if you played someone like Ryan, then you would just lose. He'd lose
Right.
too many rating points. So he was too scared to come to Oklahoma, and that was probably the right decision. That's the narrative we'll go with.
Yeah, right.
But it looks like Tom has a pretty good edge according to the engine, but it's only up a pawn, and these things can be a little bit tricky. Let's see here. Got text messages from people that I've ignored.
Same.
They sent me pictures, but since I can't post in the chat, famous in chess and hockey. Does he play hockey? I didn't know this.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He, I believe, went to college on a hockey scholarship.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, chess, for as strong as he is at chess was just a side hobby for a long time. He's an incredible hockey player.
That's cool. Hockey is like my favorite sport to watch.
Oh,
Very fun. I'm a fan of the Nashville Predators, so we're not talking about how they missed the playoffs, but the struggle is real. So, Oki, are you better than Zod at hockey?
Oh, no, definitely not. I used to play when I was a little kid when I was living in the Northeast, but yeah, I just moved so much I never kept up with it. But yeah, no, he's good. I mean, oh, he didn't have a scholarship? Okay, well, didn't he play college hockey at like OU or one of those? I don't know. I feel like if you're playing collegiate hockey, if they let you on the ice on some level, you're kind of a beast, but
I don't think that most SEC teams have a D1, though, because the University of Alabama had a hockey team, but they were like a club team, so none of those people were on scholarship.
oh, okay, yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
so if he
you're
was
probably
at OU, then he was probably on the club team there, but still not easy to get on those teams. Very competitive. Oh, played at a school in Massachusetts? Yeah, there's a lot of good schools in Massachusetts for hockey. So yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Oklahoma wouldn't be the main place for hockey for sure.
Yeah, I love how his chat knows more about his life than I do. I'm sorry, guys, I'm screwing up. This is a man I see all the time at my chess club.
Well, I mean, if they're regular viewers to his stream, he's probably told these stories 1,000 times on stream. So we're just not good enough to be caught up on the lore.
Yeah, I appreciate filling in.
Yeah, it's nice. Going to be going over these games over the next 2 days, so it's nice to learn about the competitors. Also, I see him less than Oki does because I'm in Tulsa, and Josh is over in OKC area, I believe. His origin story on YouTube is really good. I need to check that out. feel like that's definitely something I need to watch after the stream.
Oh, nice. What tournament are you playing in, Dom or Domere, or have you said?
Is all those numbers mess me up too.
Yeah, right.
Domery. What's my lore? My lore is I came from the state of Alabama, and I was a Twitch streamer in the Gods Unchained universe, which is a crypto based card game which is similar to Hearthstone. I was the number one player in the world, and then that game crashed and is no longer a thing. So I no longer stream. So this is my first stream in over a year, and uh, yeah, I ended up while being a Twitch streamer, I started streaming in 2020 like everyone else did. While there, I built an empire in that game, and I complained about my IRL job in that game, and one of my Twitch fans gave me a remote job based out of California for a company that does sustainability certifications out in California for commercial real estate buildings. I have degrees in finance and economics. I never had heard of that area of the world, but I got a nice job upgrade, and I got the job upgrade by complaining on the internet about my old job. So the lesson is, if you don't like your job, complain, and then one of your Twitch followers will give you a new one. I took that job, and it was a fully remote job. I finally had enough money to move out of my parents' basement. They were very excited about that. So I Googled what are good places to work remote. And that's how I found out about this program called Tulsa Remote, where they pay you $10,000 to move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was living in Alabama previously. So I'm like, this is as good as any. I had never been to the state of Oklahoma before I just decided to move there. So I feel like that's kind of unique. Just moving to a place you've never even been before.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Yeah, I work remote in Tulsa for a California company. So that's nice. My job is fully remote. I do get flown out to California a couple of times a year for various events. They want in-person events, so they pay for me to go out to California. Last month, I was in Santa Barbara, which was very nice. It's nice to have the company pay for all of that, because if you have to pay for yourself in Santa Barbara, it is quite expensive. But yeah, I'm enjoying the cost of living in Oklahoma with a California job. I think that's kind of like living the dream, right? Congrats, General Zod, in the chat. He's got his Arizona green tea. And yeah, congrats on your victory. It was a very well played game here. I think everyone in chat is proud and impressed of some of the moves you find here. We've got Tom here in the tank here, so we'll go ahead and run back through General Zod's very convincing opening round victory here.
Yeah, Josh. Yeah, Arya. Yeah, I can attest to having played Arya a few times. He is an incredibly strong player for his age.
Yeah. Hopefully you get back to the hotel before the tornadoes come in. I believe you've got a little bit of time. I keep getting AccuWeather updates on my phone, though. Part of the excitement of living in Oklahoma. But yeah, looked like a very solid position you got here out of the opening in the Kuro. Go through this real quickly here. Castles. This all feels rather standard here. Then knight b6 was kind of an odd move by Arya, but I guess he wants to go ahead and clamp down on d5. 35 stream watching streak. That's very impressive. Congrats, chatter. And then you've got the nice slow maneuvering game here. h5, the knight coming into d3. It just feels like you just slowly outplayed him. And I mean, the knight coming back to c8. It was really hard for Arya to come out with a plan. I feel like the whole game. That's one thing I noticed is you develop this really big time advantage. His pieces were kind of passive and very awkward. So yeah, positional squeeze is exactly what it felt like here. The whole rook a6, rook b6 idea, I feel like from Arya wasn't very good, but it was just very hard for Arya to come up with a plan. And one thing that shocked me is, and everyone I think kind of thought that you would play queen c2 here. When you played queen a2, I think you caught everyone by surprise, and it took us a while to figure it out, but it really felt like that queen a2 showed that you had a very good understanding of what the position was and what some of the tricks you could have had there. So yeah, definitely a maneuvering battle as you expect in a lot of Kuros for sure. And yeah, Arya just ran out of moves and had a hard time coming up with things to do here. You know, autopilot move there, getting those rooks doubled. It's like amazing that he played queen d8 in the number one engine move. It's just hard to really find good moves. And then knight c5. I like the knight coming in here. And here, Arya plays this, and I mean, it's very easy for us when we see the engine bar just jump up to be like, oh, you take there. But to actually play knight takes e6 over the board, this was a really great shot. And I think really showed that you had a great understanding of the position. So yeah, I mean, very impressed.
Very impressed.
Jake, I think we have the echo back.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I noticed he went off. I think he disconnected from the Discord and then reconnected, and sometimes that comes down. F takes e6, rook takes e6, king h7 here, and I mean the problem with Arya is he just can't move. That's his positional problem. Knight c7, and then yeah, tactically bishop e7 instantly wins the game. Here it shows that Arya ran out of time. He could have resigned. Resigning here is perfectly fine as well. But yeah, finding knight takes e6 was very, very good. Yeah, no, of course, sacrificing a knight there when there's not a clear follow-up that wins material. It was kind of long-range compensation. Doing a knight sack like that for long-range compensation in a position where it felt like you were winning, but that was very good, and that was the knockout blow. That just, I mean, there wasn't really anything for Arya after that because you just didn't make any mistakes, and there was just no moves there. Could you have played bishop takes h5 instead of queen b1? Good question here. So you played queen b1, which was threatening. Bishop takes h5. You thought about this, and yeah, the engine doesn't like that, but it still says you're winning. You're down 2 pieces now, so it really feels like you need to be sure. King g8. It's really hard to sack the piece and then play c4. That would be very difficult. Yeah. Very interesting. So he wants to play c5. What happens if you like move the knight and do something normal? Queen e4. It still wants c5, but I don't want to play c5. Fine. Yeah, I mean, apparently this is winning. Yeah, I think your instincts were correct. There wasn't necessarily a knockout, but you are better here. I do think that your instincts have been were very spot on pretty much all throughout this game. So yeah, congratulations on that round 1 win. I mean, we hope that you keep playing like that, because if you keep playing like that, you're going to be a very difficult player to beat in this field, for sure. So great job, and get some rest and come back strong tomorrow. It's going to be some difficult games tomorrow, I'm sure. Let's see here. Check out tomorrow, round number 2. General Zod takes on Thomas Bromwich, who is currently in progress here, has the better position in this game. We last left off here. Okay, yeah. Last left off around here. Rook c8, c4, and then the knight c5. So he exchanges this off. I don't know if I really want to exchange off that bishop for the knight. I mean, I guess kind of an idea is after this, maybe you're thinking about this somewhere. Okay, apparently that just hangs this pawn, and that's really bad. So that's my first instinct, is I wanted to do this and this, but maybe my order was wrong. Maybe you play rook e5 first and then try to play bishop before. No, now we're hanging this pawn, so that's not good either. So back to last live move. Okay, yeah. A little bit of work here to do for Tom. And Josh also plays, big game tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. Josh plays the black pieces against Ryan Ambergy. In fact, Josh opens the tournament with 2 whites, then gets 2 blacks, and then ends the tournament with a white. Will you be streaming the games tomorrow? Yeah, I will be. I plan to be on all 5 games. We will have different guest commentators on tomorrow. We've got, I believe, 2 lined up for tomorrow. I believe Mark Holsey and William Len are both coming on for either one or both games each. I'm not 100% sure. And I don't know the guest commentators for Sunday. It's still a little bit TBD. Gotta prep for that big game against Ryan. Hopefully that works out and you give us a great show. Where did I grow up in Alabama? I grew up in Huntsville, Alabama. I went to the University of Alabama. And fun fact about Alabama is they did a survey on USA Today, and it was voted as one of the top 50 states in the U.S. I'm getting boos, so obviously an Auburn fan. Well, I mean, every game of this tournament's going to be difficult. It's such a tough field. Who was the star football player my senior year? I graduated in 2012. I think Trent Richardson was the star football player my senior year. I thought that he was going to be a great player. Unless you're talking about high school. My high school did not have a star player. My high school finished dead last every single year in football. But they were ranked nationally in math. Yeah, at Alabama. Alabama, Trent Richardson. He was just an absolute beast in college, and then somehow never made it. Yeah, I have started watching the OKC Thunder. They were quite fun. In fact, I got to experience my first NBA Finals game last year. I went to game 1, and you might not want me back there because that was the Halliburton game. But yeah, no, the Thunder are a great team, and I've been to a few games there. Then I played chess in junior levels competitively when I was very young, somewhat. I won, I believe, 5 or 6 Scholastic State Chess Championships in Alabama. So pretty decent. And I played in nationals a couple of times. Was playing in Board 1, like in 4th grade, for the grade championship. And then lost in the final round. But, you know, one game away from a national championship isn't too shabby. But I plateaued in elementary school and never got that much better. Chilling at I peaked around 2,000, and I've lost about 130 points since moving here. I'm slightly above 1,900 right now. Thunder are even better this year. I mean, yeah, if they can stay healthy, I think for sure they're pretty good. But I mean, the Spurs look pretty good. Denver's always going to be a threat. The playoffs should be pretty exciting. Your kids just played at the state championship in the Space and Rocket Center. So, fun fact: my first ever job was at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center as a presenter. That was very fun. So, that was my first job. But yeah, the Space and Rocket Center is great. Pacers should have won. I mean, they lost 4 games out of 7. I don't know. Tough luck.
Yeah, I think the Thunder are going to repeat this year.
I'm hoping that would be fun. You're also an Indiana football fan, so you got that on Bama. Yeah, I actually went to the I've been to Norman, Oklahoma twice, only twice, and that was the 2 games Alabama played against OU. And the first one was like the funeral, where they beat Alabama pretty badly last year, and then this year in the CFP playoff, Alabama got their revenge. So I had one good experience in Norman at least. All right, Chuck played Rook D6, and he is hitting the bishop. Tom, I think he wanted to move the bishop anyways. The computer is like, just move it here. I think he wanted to move it here, but you can't give up the B5 pawn. I feel like bishop
Just
F4
one game tonight, Papa Crow.
is very convenient here as well. The engine wanted to play bishop D3, bishop E3. I don't understand the difference. I just like asking the question to the rook, but apparently here, and this rook's getting active, and then maybe black has some counterplay. White has the bishop, and they're up a pawn, so you probably think that this is good for Tom, but we'll see. I'm curious about Zod's. I need to watch Zod's origin story after this stream for sure. I'll do that. That's my homework for tonight. That way I'll be a more knowledgeable host for tomorrow. So, some ideas. Back to live move. He did not play bishop f4. Bishop e3 actually makes more sense when we realize that the rook d3 line, because we're hitting the knight. We're no longer worried about rook d3. We don't have to worry about the pawn on h3 hanging. So bishop to e3 seems like to be the key move for Tom here. Now, Tom had about a 30-minute edge on the clock, but now look at this. Chuck has stayed at around the 10-minute mark, and Tom has lost the time edge. Now Tom makes the same inaccuracy that I made. Bishop f4 is the first instinct that I had in the position. But as we can see, the engine, you know, he went from plus 1.8 to plus 0.9. And this is going to be difficult for Tom now. I still wonder, like, can we get away with like a rook d1 here? I mean, I know this is check, but like, how does black get away with this? Oh, because this wins the bishop at the end. Wow. I missed this. I was trying to set up bishop to d6 and then completely missed this. Wow. So yeah, Tom needs to be careful because you can't get away with Rook D1 because Bishop D6 is not a threat. Yeah, after this, Rook E3 makes logical sense. It's a good sign when they're like, go back to D7. Yeah, I am not Tom. That's the good news is that Tom probably won't blunder Rook D1 like I did. Because I just like the idea of Bishop D6 at the end of the tactics, but it doesn't even work because of Rook G5. That is something with both players getting low on time that they could easily miss a small tactic like that at the end of a long line, and that would be very bad for Tom. Yeah, the history of Oklahoma chess. Tom is the OCA president and has a, is it quarterly or monthly magazine? That's pretty good. I think it's quarterly. Where he goes over some of the best things happening in Oklahoma chess. Speaking of, if Jake is still on the call, I'm not sure, but Tom is a bit of a historian as well.
Yeah, his book is excellent. Highly recommend to anybody that has an interest. There's a lot of good games. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Just making sure. This mic is giving me so many problems. So annoying. Oh well.
Well, for me, usually my quality in streaming dips after the 2 hour mark. So this
Same.
stream has already been over 3 hours, and I mean I've got to develop the stamina to go the distance because some of these games are gonna get up to that near that 4 hour mark potentially, and
Right.
this one could also as well. We could easily have an hour left with the 30-second increment in this game. But it feels like that Tom should be able to pull this out, but there's some tricky things to find here, as I pointed out multiple ways to kind of blow this game already. There's, especially with both players being low on time, some of these scrambles can get very unpredictable. So yeah, it feels like Rook D3 is very natural, but Chuck is spending a long time here. Maybe he's just worried about Rook E3, and then having to go back and just feels like it's a waste of time, which I could understand that as well. Is there ever a consideration after Rook E3 just exchanging the rooks and then just being like, all right, I'm down a pawn. Okay, the engine does not like that. I just thought that maybe this knight was hitting here. That could be a problem, but maybe this is not good. Immediately on the A7 pawn, and you don't want to play this. Though it's interesting. Can you take this pawn, or do we get fissured? Maybe I guess this rook doesn't have enough time to do this because we can jailbreak out of this. But something to consider. I do like lead chess interface here we had here. All right, so he plays Rook A6, putting pressure on this pawn, which makes sense. Wondering if we can get away with like a b4 type of idea. The engine wants to play bishop e3, which I just want to play b4, but maybe there's a reason not to. What happens on b4? b4 is a blunder because of the knight fork. Okay. I'm finding all the bad moves. General Zod's name is Josh Alexander. He already got the win. Oh, and if you guard the bishop, there's this fork. Wow.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like that is very actually sneaky. That is very sneaky. So as I'm improving this stream, there are plenty of ways to blow this. In fact, rook a6 threatens threatens knight d3 in this position. So he needs to move this bishop. I figure not a huge difference between this square and this square, but I could be wrong. Yeah, that might have been the underlying issue with bishop f4 earlier. I think you're correct, Zoomjaw. Can I still do my idea here of this? Okay. The engine's not mad at me for that, at least. But we do give up this. So I've been wanting to play bishop here, which doesn't even do anything. Like this is a dangerous position for Tom, because he can instinctually play something like this, and then he's losing after this, which is just mind-boggling. You have to give up the exchange here.
Right, just one little slip.
And this would still be a very hard fight, but it just shows you that the e-file bar can be very deceiving. This is a very critical move for Tom, and I mean, I've already blundered it multiple times. So Tom, with very little time on his clock, needs to be careful in this key position.
Yeah, and Chuck is very resourceful. Like, yeah, I've played a few games with him now where he'll have 2 minutes on his clock and he is cool as a cucumber. So I don't think he minds only having 5 minutes.
Yeah, I give Chuck a lot of credit for playing rook a6. Even though the engine said that rook d3 was the best move, I feel like from a practical standpoint, rook a6 is a lot stronger, because it looks like you're threatening here. If he does a natural move guarding the pawn, you've got the knight d3 move coming in. I really like this move. I mean, the engine says it's losing either way, but okay, Tom finds bishop to e3, which isn't a very easy move when literally the move before he played bishop f4, and now he makes a huge concession playing bishop to e3, moving the same piece on back-to-back moves. But it's something that Tom needed to absolutely find to maintain a good advantage in the position. So a great find by Tom, and a very hard move to make psychologically. So, what tricks can Chuck muster here? It wants to go backwards. I feel like that going forward is a lot more natural, especially putting pressure on this g5 pawn.
Yeah, I think if it were me, yeah, I'd probably try to do something about putting pressure on g5. But I mean, yeah, well, he'll just slide his rook over to the g file again and hold on to everything.
I think maybe the engine's wanting to maybe do like a maneuver like this.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, yeah.
But
Yeah. Who's gonna blink first?
yeah, I mean, it's not even really threatening much. Could even get away with this, right? Yeah, that would just win a piece. Okay. So yeah, I don't understand. What's wrong with knight? Oh, what's wrong with this? Ah, bishop d4 hitting the rook and hitting the knight. Okay, that simple. I'm hanging too many pieces.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, the bishop d4 idea is very annoying.
Hey, Mr. Rio, welcome to the chat. No, these are USCF rated games. But it is over the board classical being played in Tulsa, Oklahoma on DGT boards. Let's see here. Okay, so how is he? I mean, at a certain point with 2.5 minutes, you just kind of have to do something.
Yeah, I mean his knight's under attack. You got to move the knight. So you've only got you got a very small amount of number of candidate moves, right? So if you're able to eliminate knight e4 because of the bishop d4 tactic, which isn't guaranteed, then you're looking at maybe knight to d3. But I mean after rook d1, you're kind of going back here, and then bishop d4 is just very ugly. Okay, he goes rook c6, guarding the knight. So the engine wants to play rook to d1. I don't really quite understand that. Chat mentioned earlier that maybe play f4, which would free up kind of this bishop. Kind of makes some sense. And while Tom goes ahead and plays that, and the engine does not disagree. Great quick move by Tom there to apply some more pressure to Chuck to come up with a move. And now that this isn't really a threat anymore, g5 is not really a threat, I think that rook g8 makes a lot of sense to try to get this rook back into the game. That's what the engine would like to suggest here. But I also think that if you're Tom, one thing you're threatening is, let's say on like this, can you get away with this? I guess maybe you've got e5, but my idea is if you take, then this is double check. So you can't take. But apparently after this, I mean, I guess this is still fine, but I'm gonna figure out a way to get like a knockout here, which might not exist. Does this ever work? Nope. Because of tactics. Yeah, and they just get too many pawns back. Yeah, I guess giving black the e5 pass pawn. I thought that they might have been that Tom might have been able to win it, but that does not appear to be the case. Chuck is getting low on time here. Under a minute now. And rook g8 isn't super obvious. It's like Tom just played a move that doesn't necessarily threaten anything immediately, but you do have to wonder about f5 breaks at some point. Okay, we have knight d3 played on the board, asking the question to the rook. Interesting. The engine wants to play rook e2. My instinct was to play rook d1. Does this fail tactically? No. It's just a preference. Then it wants to go back. That's awkward. But I would think that white could then double And that could be problematic for black long term. All right, looks like that's what was played. Is there a link to the broadcasts? I need to set up tomorrow's stream a little bit better to where I can reply to the chat. But yeah, there is. Maybe have a macro. That would be smart. Yeah. The rooks do want to double eventually, but Chuck is going to try to anchor that knight on d3, and that's kind of annoying. That is annoying indeed. And Tom grabs a pawn. I didn't even notice that pawn was hanging. This is one of those pawns that's very easy to forget about. But it looks like Tom can take that pawn and there's no repercussions. You can't trap this because of this and then this. You always get the freedom. Ooh, knight f4, and we've got bishop to b8 or bishop c5. Yeah, bishop c5 just instantly wins the game. Yeah. And Tom finds it. Yeah, that was a key blunder here. I'm going to go back just a little bit. We had here threatening the knight, rook to d6. All of this being played in time pressure. Tom grabs the pawn, knight f4, and we might see a resignation here. Tom showing us that looks like white is going to win all 3 games in round number 1. So that is tough.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun event, I think. Everyone is trying to play for winning results, and overall, yeah, it's going to be a tough challenge.
3 games, 3 decisive results. Can't ask for much more than that. We love that. We love when there's blood spilled. We don't like it when it's draws every single game. So that's fun.
Oh yeah, agreed.
And the computer is saying that this game is done on time, but I feel like that Chuck probably just resigned instead of losing on time. It's bishop c5 is a shot. Yes, knight sack and over the board classical. We saw that here. I'll do a quick rundown of this game since we've done it for all the other games. I believe that this game is finished. It doesn't say that it's done yet. It's not marked as official, but I feel like that was the last move of the game. If it isn't, we'll go back to it. But e4, d6, we had the little perk action going on here, and super solid out of the opening. A little bit of a stuff here. I always like white in these type of positions. It's just hard to play with black when you don't move any of your pieces out to the 5th rank or beyond, which is completely what they do. It's all like all theory. This is normal. White gets to be undisciplined and launch a g-pawn up the board, which is always fun. Now the queen got advanced. This queen ended up being a problem piece all game. Got very awkward and out of hand. H5 I thought was an interesting concession because it's going to be hard to ever castle here. We see here officially Tom marked as the winner of this game. Not surprised here. G5, the knight retreats. Knight goes to E2. Solid development moves. I thought that B3 at the time he played it was very good because it had the awareness to stop knight to C4. But it's also a hard move to play because, I mean, this bishop on this diagonal, you're never going to castle long now with this b3 weakness, really weakening the queen side. And already played g4 and g5 and h3. It feels like that you're not castling king side, though. Tom quickly proves me wrong by castling kingside. Natural here, and here Chuck makes the interesting decision of turning this bishop into a pawn. The engine was not super thrilled with that. And then queen to a6. It did pose a trap because if you went here, this was very problematic. So you gotta be somewhat careful. But Tom was indeed careful. He did give the opportunity of this bishop to trade for this knight, which would have been good for Chuck and would have equalized. Instead, king e7, and it really feels like that this was one of the last shots for Chuck in this game, because after this, he just ended up in a very difficult position to play. I loved knight f6, coming in very aggressive. The engine also agrees. So that was a good find by Chuck. And we get the bishop into the game. Being very patient, not just grabbing the pawn, I think was smart. Knight coming out into the corner. We exchange for that bishop. That bishop has a lot of times can be very strong long term. King h1, very nice prophylactic move getting off of this file. And interesting idea by Chuck. The engine doesn't like it, but I mean, you get queens off the board, but losing this d pawn was absolutely critical. That little bit of the intermezzo was a very nice find by Tom. Great position here, according to the engine here. c4, knight c5. The engine doesn't like exchanging here, but it does simplify the position somewhat, so that's not too bad. d6, bishop f4. Tom almost slipped up there because of the threat of this being very strong. However, he is hitting here. Rook a6 I thought was a great practical try by Chuck. Unfortunately, bishop to e3, and then kind of forces rook to c6, f4, and this is how the game ended. Rook d6 defend there. Bishop takes a7, grabbing the pawn, and the point of no return. Though Chuck was already losing in this position, knight takes f4, which fails tactically, to bishop c5, which just wins the game immediately. So great game by Todd. Zod's name is Josh Alexander. He won his game. Tom beat Chuck, and Ryan beat David. And I think that we have done enough commentating on this. Jake, do you have any last words?
No, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody that's joined in tonight. I know the games have been long, so I appreciate everyone that's put their time and effort into commenting and enjoying the game. So looking forward to the next ones, and good luck tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in to tomorrow's round 2. Tomorrow will be 12 hours from now at 9:30 a.m. So that's an easy time to remember. If you're not in the central time zone, then it's exactly 12 hours from now. So that should be pretty easy. I believe I have Mark Holsey and William Lynn joining, so we should have a 3-person commentator. I don't know if that will be easier or harder, but thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'm going to go ahead and end stream.